My name is Zhao Chun. I woke up in class feeling dizzy, thinking I was just tired from gaming too late last night. But something was wrong. The desks weren't wooden anymore. They were made of smooth white material. Holographic screens floated in front of everyone, and the school uniforms looked like something from a sci-fi movie. I reached out to touch the screen, and my hand passed through it. Looking around, I saw a giant window showing endless stars outside. The classroom walls were lined with glowing paintings of sleek starships. Then I noticed the teacher, humanoid, but not human, with a bald head covered in vine-like markings and butterfly-shaped ears. Suddenly, strange memories crashed into my mind. This was the galactic year 3030 in the Starshine Empire. I was at the North Star Military Academy of Starships, training as a third-year cadet in the captain's division. The body I was in had the same name as me, Zhao Chun, but the original owner had taken poison over heartbreak. Somehow, I had crossed over and taken his place. Then a mechanical voice echoed in my head. A super interstellar fleet system had just bound to me. I got 100 system points, the profession of top starship engineer, and a blueprint for a T-3 Blizzard-class light interstellar battlecruiser. I could also draw a special attribute. A status screen appeared, showing my points, tasks, and the blueprint in my warehouse. Testing my new skill, I searched for starship construction data and instantly understood everything. I could build starships myself. The system explained that points are earned by building system starships or completing missions and can be used in its store. Most items in the store were only low-level T1 tech, but my T3 blueprint was priceless, worth tens or even hundreds of billions of star coins. The Empire had fewer than 10 T3 starship models. If anyone found out I had one, I would become a target. Still, building it required over 10 million star coins, which I didn't have. My first mission was to own a system-built starship. I also had to choose a special attribute, but all options forced me to recruit only men, only women, or only non-humans. I sighed. This was going to be much harder than I thought. When the system made me choose a special attribute, it randomly gave me fleet luck bonus and Eye of Insight. But there was a catch. My fleet could only recruit female soldiers. If I broke that rule, I would lose the rewards and face unknown punishment. It sounded strange, but I decided to accept it. The fleet luck bonus would make me and my crew luckier, though I wasn't sure how it worked. The Eye of Insight let me see if anyone on my ship had hostile intentions, which meant I'd be safe aboard my own starship. That day, the teacher announced something big. Next semester, all of us cadets in the captain's program would start practical training. Each of us needed our own starship. We could buy one ourselves or use academy points to exchange for one. The classroom buzzed with excitement as everyone talked about what kind of ships they would get. Wealthy students bragged about expensive T2 class destroyers their families had already bought for them. My friend Li Wei showed me a hologram of his new T2 Hyena medium star destroyer worth 4.3 million star coins, with a veteran crew his father arranged. He even offered to help me get a ship if I needed it. I told him I already had something in mind. On the surface, Li Wei seemed far above me, coming from one of the richest families in the Northern Star region. But I wasn't just a common student either. I had inherited the title of Baron after my father's death, along with an entire star system. The problem was, my system was poor, had only one sun, and no Stargate could be built there. It had almost no resources and only a few old T1 ships for defense. My family's title had declined over generations, from Count to Baron, and if I didn't achieve something great, the Empire would eventually take the land back. While walking to the cafeteria, we ran into Jiang Shasha, my fiancée in name only. We had grown up together, but since entering the academy, she had drifted away, choosing richer and more powerful people. Her coldness had once hurt me so deeply that the original Zhao Chun took poison. Now I, reborn as Zhao Chun, walked past her without hesitation. When I walked toward Jiang Shasha, she looked ready to reject me. I could see the disgust in her eyes. In her mind, she had already left behind our poor little star system and decided she would never return to be the wife of a powerless baron. She had chosen a new man, Zhang Haoran, the son of a viscount, someone with a future, status, and wealth. But I didn't even look at her. I just walked past, heading straight for a seat by the big window. Everyone, even Li Wei, seemed surprised. I didn't care. I only wanted to watch the starships outside. Through the glass, I saw dozens of ships docked at the distant starport. Most were T2 class destroyers and frigates, much larger than old T1 class ships. A few T1 vessels were still there, clearly antiques, while carrier-class ships were nowhere to be seen. My eyes stopped on a T2 Hyena-class destroyer, the same kind Li Wei had bought. It was about 230 meters long, sleek and powerful, painted steel gray with 3 emblems on its hull: the Galactic Alliance, the Starshine Empire's 7-star crest, and its owner's mark. Li Wei offered to treat me to lunch, so we ordered cheap artificial meals. The food looked fine, but tasted like plastic. That's how things were now. Real farm-grown food was so rare and expensive that only the richest nobles could eat it regularly. Even the simplest things from my old world, like rice and vegetables, had become luxuries. As we ate, I heard a mocking voice nearby. It was Zhang Haoran. Jiang Shasha sat beside him, smiling faintly. He sneered at me, saying I wasn't worthy of her and that I should cancel our engagement myself. I didn't answer. I didn't even look up. I just kept eating my tasteless food. Inside, I felt calm. Maybe this body's past self had loved her, but I wasn't the same person anymore. She could chase wealth and titles if she wanted. I had something far greater, a system, a blueprint for a T3 starship, and the drive to rise again. Let them think I'm a fallen baron. Soon enough, they'll see how wrong they were. Zhang Haoran tried to provoke me, mocking my fallen title and even claiming Jiang Shasha as his girlfriend. She seemed uneasy about it, but I stayed calm. My simple reply shocked them both. I wasn't the same desperate boy they remembered. When Zhang insulted me again, I exposed his failures at school, cutting straight to his pride. Enraged, he boasted about his future T2 starship and mocked me for supposedly only being able to get a T1. Then, the system triggered a random mission: defeat Zhang Haoran in a starship duel. Winning would give me 1 mission point and 300 credits. Losing would cost me 300 credits. I only had 100 now, but I needed mission points badly to unlock real items. It was risky, but I accepted. I challenged him in front of everyone. He laughed, saying I had no starship, but agreed to duel before the semester ended. The academy system recorded it, and students nearby watched in surprise. Li Wei tried to defend me, but I told him to trust me. After we left the cafeteria, Li Wei panicked, begging me not to fight Zhang. He even offered to lend me his own T2 Hyena. I told him not to worry, I had my own plan. We went to the Academy's starship storage hangar. The place was full of old ships, mostly worn-down T1s and a few outdated T2s. Li Wei showed me several decent ones, but I kept looking until I found what I wanted: 3 battered T2 ships, a Hyena-class destroyer, a Grey Wolf-class cruiser, and a Devil-Craw-class battleship. They were ancient, damaged, and cheap. Everyone thought I was crazy. I used all my points to claim them, then requested basic parts and booked a workshop dock to repair them myself. Li Wei was furious, thinking I was throwing away my future, but I told him to trust me. He couldn't understand, so I let him go. Alone in the huge dock, I stood before the 3 rusted ships. Their hulls were scarred, but I saw potential. At the console, I scanned and merged their strongest sections into one design. On the screen, a rough outline of a new ship appeared. It would become something far greater: my T3 Blizzard-class light interstellar battlecruiser. The reason Zhao Chun exchanged for these 3 starships was simple. With his current ability, it was impossible to build the T3 starship rewarded by the system. However, if he used the technical blueprints of the T3 Blizzard class as a foundation and modified the 3 starships in front of him, he might be able to assemble a simplified version of the T3 Blizzard-class light interstellar battlecruiser. In his mind, equipped with the knowledge of a top starship engineer, he ran countless calculations and confirmed that the plan had an 80% chance of success. Use the hull of the T2 Crocodile-class medium battlecruiser, then combine it with performance modules from the T2 Hyena and T2 Grey Wolf. Zhao Chun muttered excitedly, his eyes shining with determination. With the plan set, Zhao Chun immediately began. He walked to the control console and personally operated the mechanical arms to start cutting into the 3 starships. Although this was his first time modifying a starship, the moment he began, he felt as if he had done it many times before. His movements were smooth and precise. Even the most advanced starship engineers in the Academy would be astonished by his skill. Without decades of hands-on experience and top-level knowledge, it would be impossible to work with such ease. Dismantling 3 starships alone was a massive task. Hiring repair workers or engineers would have been a great help. But Zhao Qin could not do that. First, he had no Academy credits left. He had spent them all on parts. Second, this process had to remain secret. Combining 3 different starships into one new vessel, while also using some of the T3 Blizzard-class's core technology, was too risky. If anyone discovered it and spread the news, the consequences would be unimaginable. Therefore, Zhao Qin had to handle everything himself. After some quick calculations, he estimated that about 20 days would be enough. Over the next 3 weeks, Zhao Qin skipped almost all his classes. Since it was already the end of the term, most exams were finished, and he had enough credits to move on to the 4th year. So missing classes didn't matter much. However, the news that Zhao Qin had challenged Zhang Haoran spread quickly among the 3rd-year students. Many came to Zhao Qin's classroom, curious to see the so-called fallen baron, but all left disappointed. At the Starship workshop, the main door flashed red, signaling that someone was requesting entry. At first, Zhao Qin ignored it, but the signal kept going for 10 minutes. Finally, unable to stand it any longer, he dragged his tired body to the door and opened it. "Zhao Qin, are you out of your mind?" Before he could even see who it was, a sharp voice rang out, followed by a slender leg stepping inside. It was Zhao Wanner. She immediately pointed at Zhao Qin and scolded him, but he barely listened, leaning against the doorframe. "Wanner, are you done yet? If you're done, I'm going back to rest." "Oh." Zhao Qin yawned, half closing his eyes. The young woman before him, graceful and fair-skinned, was his younger sister, Zhao Wanner. She was also a 4th-year student at the Northern Star Starship Academy, soon to enter her 5th year. Why was Zhao Qin, the older brother, only in the 3rd year while his sister was already in the 4th? Because Zhao Wanner was a genius. She had completed 3 years' worth of courses in just 1 year, surpassing her brother and advancing ahead of him. With her outstanding looks, she was considered one of the Academy's most admired students. Now, dressed in a crisp, white military-style uniform, she had only just returned after more than half a month. She had likely been away for her 4th-year final assessment, which required piloting a starship in real combat. As soon as she came back and heard the news, she rushed to find her brother. Looking at Zhao Qin now, with dark circles under his eyes, messy hair, and even a faint odor, she frowned. Behind him, the workshop floor revealed a makeshift bed, a box of instant nutrient meals, and discarded wrappers scattered everywhere, giving off a sour smell. Several Academy uniforms lay crumpled on the ground, completely unattended. It's clear what kind of days Zhao Qin has been living through these past couple of weeks. You still have time to rest? Do you even realize what kind of trouble you've caused? Just for a woman, you challenged Zhang Haoran to a starship duel, and even made a bet that the loser would have to leave the Academy. Are you out of your mind? Zhao Wanner, frustrated, grabbed Zhao Qin by the ear. Normally, that would hurt. But right now, Zhao Qin was so sleepy that he simply toppled over onto Zhao Wanner. She fell back onto the ground, and Zhao Qin leaned against her like a child. "This guy?" Zhao Wanner sighed helplessly, then dragged Zhao Qin into the starship workshop. But when she lifted her head and looked at the massive docking area, large enough to hold several football fields, she froze. A starship stood there. Its body was clearly old, not new at all. Some parts were uneven, and there were even marks from past bombardments. Scattered across the nearby workbenches were all kinds of parts, big and small. Yet despite its worn state, Zhao Wanner could still feel a fierce aura hidden within the ship. Most importantly, she felt as if she had seen this starship before. But no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't recall it from any of the starship encyclopedias she had studied. "Wanner." A voice behind her pulled her back to reality. Zhao Qin had woken up. Sitting cross-legged on the ground, he looked much better, even though he had only slept for about 10 minutes. What is this?" Zhao Wanner pointed at the unfamiliar starship. "My starship," Zhao Qin answered without thinking. "Don't lie to me. I heard from Li Wei that you used your Academy points to exchange for 3 old starships. This can't possibly be one of those." Zhao Wanner stopped mid-sentence. She turned back, staring at the ship in disbelief. Suddenly, she realized why it had felt so familiar. Warner, aren't you usually quick to figure things out? How come you still haven't recognized it? Zhao Chen smirked teasingly. Zhao Warner carefully examined the starship from top to bottom. She looked at Zhao Chen in shock. This starship was built from those three. The T2 hyena, the T2 gray wolf, and the T2 devil croc? She finally understood why the ship felt so familiar. Its body was almost identical to the T2 devil croc class medium interstellar battleship, at least 90% similar. The weapon modules, however, looked very much like those of the T2 hyena class medium destroyer. And there were other details too. In short, this starship carried too many features from all three ships. Yes, Zhao Chen admitted openly. He couldn't reveal anything about the T3 Blizzard-class light battle cruiser yet, but the fact that he had built a ship himself was impossible to hide. After all, the Starship warehouse had exchange records, and once Zhao Chen used this ship to duel Zhang Haoran, anyone could put the pieces together. You spent more than half a month here building this ship? When did you even learn how to assemble starships? Zhao Warner stared at him in disbelief. Taking apart three ships and combining them into one was no easy task. More importantly, the modules had to actually work together. Pointing at the ship, Zhao Chen smiled. I have plenty of secrets. Besides our captaincy courses, I secretly studied some starship engineering on my own. And this is my very first starship. I've named it Zero Blizzard. He thought of it as a simplified version of the T3 Blizzard-class light battle cruiser, but calling it Blizzard directly didn't feel right. So he simply gave it a new name, Zero Blizzard. Zero Blizzard? Zhao Warner muttered. The name sounded strange. The ship looked like a mix of a battleship, a cruiser, and even a destroyer. What kind of odd creation was this? Are you sure it can really start up? Zhao Chen, I know how you feel about Jiang Shasha, but she's not the right person for you, and you shouldn't tie yourself down because of her. Besides, you know the state of our territory. It took everything we had just to become students of the North Star Academy. Only if we graduate successfully will we have a chance to restore our land. You don't want your noble title taken back by the Empire, do you? If you get expelled, how will you face the memory of our parents? And the sacrifice of our sister? Zhao Warner glared at Zhao Chen with anger. Then she grabbed his wrist. I'll ask my best friend for help. She comes from a powerful family. If she steps in to talk with Zhang Haoran, maybe this duel can be cancelled. But Zhao Chen didn't move. Instead, he suddenly lifted Zhao Warner into his arms. You, what are you doing? Zhao Warner's cheeks turned red. Come, I'll show you my starship. Without another word, Zhao Chen carried her toward the ship's hatch. They passed through the slightly worn corridors inside the vessel and arrived at the bridge, the brain of the starship. The bridge wasn't very large, about 100 square meters. Since the ship wasn't active, the space was completely dark. Zhao Chen gently set Zhao Warner down, then walked alone to the captain's chair. He sat down and placed his hand on the right armrest. Highest authority detected. Beginning identity verification. Captain Zhao Chen. Identity confirmed. A floating crystal console rose before him. He tapped a few buttons. Starship initiating. Main control system online. Energy system online. 10%, 30%, 60%. As the systems came alive, the bridge lights flickered on, filling the room with brightness. The massive vessel was awakening. Propulsion system check complete. All systems normal. Weapons system check complete. All systems normal. Starship systems fully operational. One mechanical voice after another echoed through the bridge. Zhao Chen's very first starship had officially awakened. All systems running normally. Remaining energy, 19%. Zhao Chen clenched his fist in excitement. Even with his skills, he hadn't been completely sure it would work. Yet, against all odds, the ship had started on the very first try. It really worked. Zhao Warner whispered in disbelief. Well, isn't it amazing? Zhao Chen asked with a smile. Zhao Chen stepped down from the captain's chair and placed his hand on Zhao Warner's shoulder, like a brother would. Although they were siblings, because of Zhao Warner's outstanding abilities, sometimes it felt more like she was the older one. Zhao Warner rolled her eyes. So what if you can start it up? What about its combat power? Can it really hold up in a real fight? That's the real question. I heard Zhang Haoran's starship is AT-2 class ship. Are you sure your assembled ship can beat it? Don't let it fall apart before the battle even begins. Little sis, why don't you believe in your brother? Forget whether I can beat him or not. Give me 10 minutes. and I'll take down Zhang Haoran's T2 starship. Zhao Chun crossed his fingers confidently to show the number 10. 10 minutes? Huh. I never realized you liked bragging this much. Zhao Wanner gave him a sideways glance, clearly not believing a word. Besides, this starship only has you on board. No crew at all. How are you going to fight? Zhao Chun suddenly clapped his hands, his eyes lighting up. That's it. No wonder I felt something was missing when I started the ship earlier. Zhao Wanner covered her forehead, completely hopeless about her brother. I'd better go talk to my friend about how to deal with this. Wanner, where can I find crew members the fastest? Zhao Chun looked at his sister eagerly. He was good at modifying and dismantling starships. But when it came to this kind of thing, he was at a loss. You didn't even think about this, and you're already talking about a starship duel? Zhao Wanner sighed, but still explained patiently. There are usually 3 main sources for crew. First, students from other departments of the Starship Academy. Besides the captain's program that we're in, there are many other majors. Second, you can recruit retired veterans from the Imperial Army. They're skilled, but keeping them costs a lot of money. Third, there are less formal sources, like people from gray areas, pirates, wanderers, and so on. Actually, the Academy also provides official recruitment channels. You can connect to the Academy's network with your ID card, and there's a section for that. Zhao Chun rubbed his chin and asked without hesitation, which option is the cheapest? Zhao Wanner rolled her eyes, but she also knew that Zhao Chun didn't have much money left. The cheapest option is, of course, some slaves. Most of them are war captives, and some even used to be starship pilots. But because of loyalty issues and their status, many people don't really want to use slaves. At most, they're given the lowest level jobs. As for positions on the bridge, that's still. Zhao Wanner was speaking when Zhao Chun had already connected his ID card to the Academy's network. In a crew recruitment channel, he noticed a small section labeled slaves. When he clicked it, a long list appeared. Scanning through, Zhao Chun suddenly froze, staring at the list as if he had found a hidden treasure. This one. Without hesitation, Zhao Chun clicked the exchange option. Since his academy points were already used up, this time Zhao Chun paid with his own account. What did you just do? Zhao Wanner asked, feeling a bad premonition as she saw Zhao Chun close the holographic screen with a satisfied smile. I recruited some crew members. It says they'll be delivered within a day, Zhao Chun explained. Crew members? What kind of crew members? Crew. Didn't you say they were the cheapest option? How much did you spend? Didn't you already use up all your academy points? Not much, only 3,000 star coins. If I remember correctly, you only have a little over 3,000 star coins left in your account for living expenses. Dark lines appeared on Zhao Wanner's face. How had she never realized before that her brother could be this unreliable? Look, here's the list. Zhao Chun even showed her the roster he had purchased, complete with images. When Zhao Wanner saw the pictures, she was even more shocked. They were all half-beast people, and every single one of them was female. Zhao Wanner glared at her brother with a dark expression. Zhao Chun. In the end, she scolded him harshly before storming off in frustration. In her eyes, her brother had completely lost his mind. She had no choice but to prepare for the worst, cleaning up the mess Zhao Chun was bound to make. After Zhao Wanner left, Zhao Chun washed up, had a good sleep, and changed into clean clothes. At that moment, the enslaved crew members he had ordered also arrived. Hello, are you Mr. Zhao Chun? Here are the 100 workers you ordered. Please show your ID card. A man with a professional smile appeared at the entrance of Zhao Chun's workshop. Behind him were several large mechanical carts covered with black cloth. There were 10 in total, each about 3 meters high, 4 to 5 meters long, and 2 meters wide. Other than the carts, no one else could be seen. Zhao Chun showed his ID card and asked with doubt, "Where are the people I asked for?" "They're inside." The man lifted the black cloth from one of the carts, revealing iron cages inside. Each cage was about 1 meter tall, with figures sitting inside, hugging their knees. They were half-beast people, wearing torn clothes, with electronic shackles on their necks and ankles. They all looked tired, weak, and afraid. This is the software to control the electronic shackles. The shackles can deliver electric shocks and even self-destruct. Unless you unlock them with the password, any attempt to break them from outside will trigger the self-destruct. The man explained. I see. Are these cages also included? Zhao Chun pointed at the equipment. Of course, the man replied with a smile. These half-beast people had been kept in storage for a long time. Since someone was finally willing to take them, giving away some carts and cages was no big deal. I'll push them in myself then. Zhao Qin moved the carts into the workshop one by one. He removed all the black cloths. Now the half-beast people were fully revealed before him. They came in many kinds. Some were covered in fur like wild animals, while others looked more human but had animal ears or tails. The most common ones had features of dogs, pigs, or sheep. But one figure stood out the most. It was a female half-beast with white fur. Her eyes were blue, filled with anger and defiance. On her head were 2 broken white ears, and at her back was a short, broken tail. Her face and body were covered with many scars. If not for those scars, even as a half-beast, she would have been considered beautiful by human standards. This female orc seemed very familiar to Zhao Qin. In fact, when he first made the purchase, the main reason he chose this group of orcs was because of her. "Hello, General Charlotte." The white-furred orc woman looked at him in surprise. She hadn't expected him to know her name, let alone her title. General Charlotte, born in the Black Fong Star region of the United Tribes of the Warhammer Galaxy, from the White Tiger clan. Because you opposed the oppression of the orc tribes by the local rulers, you raised a rebellion and formed an interstellar resistance army. For 3 years, you fought in more than 50 battles across the stars. You once commanded a fleet of 300 resistance ships against 500 ships of the ruling lords. Though the cost was heavy, you won, even destroying one of their T3 warships. But 3 months ago, a traitor betrayed you. Your plans were exposed, and your fleet was ambushed by an enemy force many times larger. Your fleet was destroyed, and you disappeared. No one expected you to end up as sold into the Starshine Empire. Zhao Qin recited her story in detail. Hearing her past spoken aloud, Charlotte's expression grew distant. Zhao Qin opened her cage and sat down on the ground in front of her. "So, would you like to talk?" Charlotte gave a bitter smile. "Talk? I'm just a prisoner now. What is there to talk about? For example, your freedom, and the freedom of the orc soldiers who ended up here with you." His words caught her attention, and she stared at him cautiously. "What do you mean?" Zhao Qin smiled. "To be direct, I have a starship, but no crew. I want you and your people to become my crew." Charlotte laughed coldly. "So that's it? You just want free labor? Isn't that why you bought us?" "No, not at all. I don't want slaves. I want crew members, true star warriors who are willing to fight by my side." Zhao Qin corrected her firmly. "Orcs will never fight for someone else." Charlotte's eyes shone with pride. "If not for yourself, then at least think about those orc warriors who once fought beside you," Zhao Qin said softly. "As far as I know, after your defeat, nearly 30,000 half-orcs were sold as slaves to our Starshine Empire. I only bought 100 of them, but the others, their fate is still uncertain. Don't you want to save them?" Zhao Qin fixed his eyes on Charlotte. Charlotte's expression showed hesitation. Zhao Qin knew he had almost convinced her. He stood up. "Fight for me, and I promise you this. As long as I have the ability, I will buy back every half-orc warrior who once served under you and is now scattered across the Starshine Empire. And if you and your people fight and work for me for 3 years, then after those 3 years, you will all be free. So, will you fight for me? Or rather, will you fight for your freedom?" Zhao Qin reached his hand toward Charlotte inside the cage. Her expression grew complicated, her eyes flickering with many emotions. At last, she reached out and clasped his hand. But she still spoke stubbornly. "I'm doing this for my people." 100 half-orcs sat on the ground, holding food boxes and eating with their hands. Even though it was just bland artificial food, they devoured it hungrily. As slaves, they had rarely eaten their fill in the past, since traders were never merciful. After they finish eating, arrange for them to take a bath and change into new clothes. Then they can board the ship and get familiar with their future posts, Zhao Qin said, sitting beside Charlotte with the same meal in his hands. Charlotte, once a fleet commander, still carried herself with dignity. Unlike the others, she ate slowly and carefully. Noticing Zhao Qin eating the same food, she looked surprised. "You eat this too? What else?" "To be honest, your captain here is very poor right now. The food I've stored will only last us half a month at most. Whether we'll have enough to eat after that depends on how well you all perform," Zhao Qin said with a hint of self-pity. Seeing that Zhao Qin showed no arrogance, Charlotte's attitude toward him softened. Still, she narrowed her eyes at him and asked, Why did you only recruit female half-orcs? Normally, when it comes to war and battles, people tend to think men are more suited for it. I'm warning you, if you try anything improper with them, the deal between us is over. I would never trade their dignity for freedom. Zhao Chen quickly waved his hands and said helplessly, "Don't worry, I have no bad intentions toward them. It's just that, for certain reasons, I only recruited female soldiers this time. As for the reason, I can't explain it right now." He himself felt helpless. After all, the system had its restrictions. You don't need to tell me the reason, but if I ever find out you have any wrong ideas about them. Humph. Charlotte glared at Zhao Chun. To be honest, the way this white-haired half-beast girl warned him actually looked a little cute. But the scars and wounds on her body really spoiled that impression. These scars on you, you did them yourself, didn't you? Zhao Chun asked. Charlotte didn't hide it and nodded. Yes. Back then, my resistance army was betrayed and completely destroyed. In that situation, if I hadn't done this, they would have recognized me. If they knew I was a general of the resistance, they would never have spared me, let alone sold me as a. Zhao Chen understood. If Charlotte had been recognized, her fate would have been far worse. Even if she hadn't been recognized, with her original appearance, things wouldn't have ended well either. What surprises me is that you recognized me, Charlotte said curiously, looking at Zhao Chun. The fact that Zhao Chun had recognized her at first glance meant he had come for her specifically. When I was studying at the academy, I researched some of your battles and saw images of you. When I saw your name on the list, I wasn't sure at first. After all, you look so different now. Back then, you were like the morning light itself. It wasn't until I tested you that I confirmed you really are General Charlotte. Zhao Chen smiled. Of course, he had to thank the memories of this body. This body's former owner was a bookworm who loved reading about the battles of different races. Charlotte rolled her eyes. So, in the end, she had exposed her own identity. With today's medical technology, repairing the scars on your body wouldn't be a problem at all, Zhao Chen said after reviewing Charlotte's earlier records. She was undeniably beautiful, even by human standards. At the academy, she would easily be considered one of the most admired students. There's no need. A warrior doesn't care about appearances, Charlotte replied coldly, rejecting the suggestion. Seeing how firm she was, Zhao Chen didn't press further. Besides, the treatment was expensive. After they finished eating, Zhao Chen said, "Let's go take a look at your future workplace." He pointed toward a massive steel starship. Charlotte didn't refuse and followed him aboard the vessel known as Blizzard Zero. "Did you build this starship yourself?" Charlotte asked as they walked through the corridor. Zhao Chen nodded. "Yes. I combined modules from a T2 Hyena-class medium destroyer, a T2 Wolf-class light cruiser, and a T2 Devil Crocodile-class medium battleship. I named it Blizzard Zero. I'm not very familiar with those models, but judging from the interior, this ship is quite old. Many parts look worn out. Its combat ability doesn't seem promising," Charlotte said bluntly. No. I believe you'll soon change your mind. You'll come to love this ship," Zhao Chen replied with a mysterious smile. Charlotte didn't argue. Since she was already here, she might as well accept it. Whatever kind of ship it was, she had no other choice. At least, so far, Zhao Chen hadn't shown any unpleasant traits, although the fact that he recruited only female half-beasts was suspicious. Soon, the two of them arrived at the bridge of Blizzard Zero. It was Charlotte's first time here, but Zhao Chen's second. He had previously come with his sister, Zhao Wanner. Charlotte looked around. The bridge was arranged in a standard way, nothing particularly impressive. From now on, you'll be responsible for assigning positions to the half-beast crew members. I need them to become an effective fighting force as quickly as possible, Zhao Chen instructed. Charlotte looked at Zhao Chun and made a request. If that's the case, I need to understand some of this starship's performance modules. Before she could finish, Zhao Chun handed her a handheld terminal. I've already registered your information in it. From now on, you have the highest level of authority on this starship, second only to me. You can access most of the ship's data. Starting now, you are the vice captain of this starship. Charlotte was surprised. She took the terminal, glanced at Zhao Chun with doubt, and asked, "You trust me that much? Aren't you worried I might betray you?" Zhao Chun smiled faintly. In fact, the moment Charlotte boarded the ship, he had already used a system skill called Eye of Insight on her. Since he was the captain, he met the conditions to use it. Through the Eye of Insight, Zhao Chun could see that Charlotte held no hostility or intent to harm him. As for loyalty, that was uncertain. But that was enough. Zhao Chun didn't expect her to pledge loyalty in such a short time. As long as she was willing to work with him, that was all he needed. Still, he had to keep up appearances. Sitting casually in the captain's chair, he said, "I trust the people I choose. Now, my dear Vice Captain, it's time for you to get to work." Charlotte didn't respond right away. She slipped the terminal onto her wrist and used her new authority to open the ship's data files. What she saw left her stunned. Her eyes widened as she turned to Zhao Chun in disbelief. "These starship specifications, are they real?" "Of course they're real," Zhao Chun replied proudly, almost like a parent showing off their child. "So what do you think of my ship?" Charlotte's expression grew serious. If this data is accurate, then in a duel between T2 class starships, this vessel would be nearly unbeatable. Unbeatable. That was a terrifying evaluation. If Zhao Wanner and Li Wei were to hear it, they would surely scoff. A starship cobbled together from 3 old wrecks, unbeatable among T2 class ships? What a joke. Later, we'll go out for a trial voyage. You can also arrange the crew positions. Zhao Chun touched his nose a little awkwardly and said, "Because I don't have much money right now. This trial voyage will mainly be for you all to get familiar with the starship and for training. I hope you can quickly master how to operate it." "Can I see the list of people you bought?" Charlotte asked. "Of course, you can check it directly with your access." Charlotte opened the candidate crew list and saw the 100 half-beast people. They were all her companions, which softened her expression and filled her with guilt. Thinking about how many of her people were still living in captivity made her feel uneasy. Fortunately, these are all experienced crew members. And since this starship is only AT2 class, after 3 to 5 hours of practice, they should be ready for real missions, Charlotte said. Zhao Chun smiled with satisfaction. Half a day later, Charlotte had become familiar with the ship, the Zero Blizzard, and the other half-beast crew members had also finished resting. "These are the positions I've arranged for them. To operate the Zero Blizzard, only 50 crew members are needed," Charlotte said, handing Zhao Chun a list. "The rest can serve as backups in different roles. Let them first get used to the work environment," Zhao Chun instructed. This was his first starship, but it would not be his last. In the future, these crew members could be assigned to other ships as well. "I've already applied for departure clearance from the starport. The rental time for this shipyard is almost up, so I used the little money I had left to rent a berth at the Academy's starport. After the trial voyage and training, we'll return directly to that berth. I also bought some simple bedding and daily supplies. From now on, you'll be living on this starship. As for food and other necessities, I'll find a way to provide them," Zhao Chun said, feeling a pang in his heart. His account balance was shrinking fast. Now he had to support 100 half-beast crew members, so he needed to find a way to earn money quickly. To think that a Star Lord could end up this poor, it was truly a bit pitiful. "Yes," Charlotte replied, accepting Zhao Chun's orders and gradually stepping into her role. Zhao Chun sat on the captain's chair, looking at the old, worn bridge. He was determined inside. He must own a real T3 Blizzard-class light interstellar battleship. "Here is your living area, 5 people per room. For meals, there are 2 meals a day. Please go to the dining area on time. Each workstation is divided into 3 shifts, rotating regularly. Do you understand?" Charlotte looked at the 100 half-beast crew members in front of her. It felt like she had returned to her days fighting in the rebel fleet. Months had passed, feeling like a lifetime. "General, do we really have to fight for that human?" A female half-beast crew member raised her hand and asked. The other half-beasts also looked downcast. Their status still weighed heavily on their minds. "Everyone here used to be my subordinates. Because of my weakness, you ended up in this situation. If you still believe in me, I promise I will restore your freedom." Captain Zhao Chun promised that if we fight for him for 3 years, he will give us our freedom. And as long as we earn military honors, he will also help us find our friends who were sold to the Starshine Empire. Maybe you don't trust humans, but I, Charlotte, am willing to believe in that man. So, please believe in me. I swear on the honor of the White Tiger clan, I will bring everyone back. Charlotte's words and emotions moved the half-beast soldiers present. This scene, the oath, Zhao Chun saw it all on the bridge. The ship's surveillance covered 80% of the area. To be honest, Charlotte spoke very frankly. She was fighting for Zhao Chun, not out of loyalty, but for freedom. Zhao Chen didn't mind this. In fact, it was because of this that he chose to trust Charlotte. He didn't believe in casually buying a who would immediately kneel and swear loyalty. He didn't trust such people. Soon, the messy ship workshop was cleaned up, and everything that could be taken was removed. At the same time, the navigation passage in the ship workshop was opened. Number: Blizzard. Permission to enter branch D13 route. Zhao Chen sat on the captain's chair, looking at Charlotte, the vice captain beside him, and the 10 or so half-beast crew members on the bridge. Set sail, Zhao Chen said. Vice Captain Charlotte relayed the order. Activate the starship engines and enter sector D13. The half-orc crew members operated the starship somewhat awkwardly, but everything went smoothly. A few minutes later, the Zero Blizzard emerged from a route in the interstellar city of North Star Starship Academy. The bridge of the Zero Blizzard was fully enclosed, relying on external imaging devices to project several views of the outside space onto screens inside the bridge. Looking at the cosmic scenes displayed on the projection screens, Zhao Chen felt a bit excited. He was sitting on his starship, traveling through space. Captain, we will now conduct 29 test flights. Please give the command, said Vice Captain Charlotte. Begin, Zhao Chen replied. Having a capable subordinate was great. He didn't need to do everything himself. Set course to 071/299, starship engine power at 30%, speed at 30 knots, Charlotte issued the professional navigation command. Then, the Zero Blizzard started its first test flight. Continue on this course, full engine power, speed at 100 knots. All crew members should closely monitor the data and report immediately if anything unusual, Charlotte said, now at the final test. This test was to see how the starship performed at its fastest and most extreme speed. It was also Charlotte's biggest concern, especially since less than a month ago, there were 3 starships. Report. Engine system is normal. Power supply is normal. Report. The ship's structure is normal. Report. Navigation is stable, no abnormalities. After 3 hours, Vice Captain Charlotte finally relaxed and looked at Zhao Chen, standing straight. Captain, the Zero Blizzard has completed all 29 test items. Please give your orders. Return to base, Zhao Chen said with a smile. I think someone is already eager to get a beating. North Star Starship Academy, Class 3280. Look at that. Zhao Chen from Class 8 today didn't come to class again. Maybe he's afraid and hiding away. A mocking voice suddenly came into the 8th grade classroom during the break. Hearing this, the students in the classroom looked annoyed. They all knew who was coming without guessing. It was Zhang Haoran from Class 3-2, along with his group of friends. Since Zhao Chen and Zhang Haoran agreed to a starship duel, Zhang Haoran often came to the 8th grade classroom to show off. When he didn't see Zhao Chen around, he learned that Zhao Chen had taken a long leave since that day, which made him even more arrogant. He thought Zhao Chen was afraid of him. Zhang Haoran, this is our 8th grade classroom. If you have nothing to do, please go back to your own class, a cold-faced girl said as she stepped in front of Zhang Haoran. Come on, the school rules don't say you can't visit other classrooms during free time. Besides, I'm not here to find your dear Zhao Chen. He promised me a duel, and with June almost over, I'm just worried he might forget about it and wanted to remind him, Zhang Haoran said, glancing at the class beauty and class monitor of 8th grade, Xin Bing. Xin Bing replied coldly. Zhao Chen hasn't come to class for over half a month. If you want to find him, figure it out yourself. Don't bother us. Oh, come on, isn't your class a team? It's like Zhao Chen isn't part of your class, Zhang Haoran chuckled. At this moment, his followers behind him also mocked. I think Zhao Chen is probably scared and hiding away. Once June ends, he'll just sneak back to his own territory. Coward. If he's afraid to duel, why did he challenge our young Master Zhang in the first place? I say, our young Master Zhang is generous. When the time comes, he'll make Zhao Chen kneel and admit he was wrong. Haha. Hearing the teasing at the classroom door made the students of 8th grade very upset. But most of them were ordinary students with average grades. Meanwhile, Zhang Haoran's class, 3-2, was made up of students from good backgrounds. This caused the students in 8th grade to feel powerless, except for Xin Bing, who was strong-willed and excellent in grades, daring to stand up to them. The others could only swallow their anger. This caused the students of Class 8 to feel somewhat resentful toward Zhao Chen. This guy is just embarrassing. First, he was useless and got bullied in class, which was bad enough. But now he's going outside causing trouble, dragging everyone down with him. Someone like him should just drop out quickly. Zhang Haoran, if you have the guts, fight me. Shouting here doesn't count. And our duel is scheduled for the end of June, which is still a while away. Li Wei couldn't hold back anymore and angrily confronted Zhang Haoran. Although his father, a star trader, had repeatedly told him to be low-key and careful in how he behaved, he couldn't stand seeing his brother mocked and bullied. Li Wei, are you trying to stand up for your useless brother? Honestly, your choice of friends isn't good. And this useless baron has no real value. Zhang Haoran ignored Li Wei's words and continued mocking Zhao Chun. You. Li Wei's face was full of anger. Since someone is already eager to start the withdrawal procedures, I might as well help him out. A calm voice came from outside the door. Everyone's attention was drawn to the sound. Zhao Chun, who hadn't been seen for nearly a month, strolled in leisurely, looking at Zhang Haoran and his group with a teasing smile. He had finally appeared. Oh, I thought you were hiding and too scared to show up, Zhang Haoran said, surprised but not worried. In his eyes, Zhao Chun was just a tiny ant. He could crush him whenever he wanted. I just took a few days off, and I didn't expect someone to be so eager to fight, Zhao Chun said casually. Since that's the case, let's set our duel for tomorrow. How about it, young Master Zhang? Li Wei quickly stepped beside Zhao Chun and whispered, Zhao Chun, stay calm. This starship duel isn't a small matter. Once it starts, there's no turning back. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing, Zhao Chun said, patting Li Wei on the shoulder. Zhang Haoran, stubborn as ever, took out his student ID card and challenged Zhao Chun with a sneer. Zhao Chun didn't hesitate either and took out his own ID card. Under everyone's watchful eyes, the time for the duel was officially set. Tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, at the second Starship Simulation Arena of the North Starship Academy. Since everything is settled, please take your followers and leave. Don't disturb our classmates' studies. Zhao Chun ordered them to leave. Zhang Haoran's followers glared angrily. How dare this useless Zhao Chun insult them? Zhang Haoran stopped his followers. The duel date is set, so there's no need to argue more. When the time comes, he will win the duel in front of everyone, humiliating the Baron and making him lose face, forcing him to drop out and leave. I look forward to an exciting fight tomorrow. Don't disappear again when the time comes, Zhang Haoran said provocatively before turning to leave with his group. Zhao Chun calmly returned to his seat. The other students in the classroom were talking quietly. Most of them spoke coldly. Zhao Chun is really crazy. What does he think he can do against Zhang Haoran? He might not even have a starship. I heard Zhang Haoran has a brand new T2 starship. Zhao Chun dropping out is bad enough, but now our class looks bad too. That's his fault. Zhao Chun ignored these comments. Only the outcome could silence them. Li Wei sat next to Zhao Chun and was about to speak when someone spoke first. If someone doesn't have enough strength, everything they do is wrong. You're part of our class, and I don't want you to be humiliated. Your sister is a talented student. With her connections, she should be able to handle this, Shin Bing, the beautiful class monitor from a common background, said coldly. Zhao Chun looked at her and asked, Class monitor, don't you believe I can win? What do you think? Shin Bing replied bluntly. Zhao Chun shrugged. Let's wait and see. Seeing that she couldn't persuade him, Shin Bing turned away with a colder look in her eyes. Old Zhao, are you really going to duel Zhang Haoran? Li Wei asked seriously. Yes, I'm sure. No doubt about it, Zhao Chun replied, tired of hearing the same question. It's time to show everyone what I can do for the future. Li Wei looked at Zhao Chun and felt that his brother's temper seemed to have changed a lot since a month ago. Since you've made your decision, here's what we'll do. Tomorrow, you will use my T2 hyena to fight. My deputy captain is a starship captain with 20 years of combat experience in the Empire's T2 starships. You just need to leave everything to him. Don't worry, I have a starship, Zhao Chun said helplessly. Just those 3 broken starships you exchanged. How can they possibly win? Li Wei looked at Zhao Chun, unable to persuade him, and was very anxious. Zhao Chun knew that explaining now wouldn't work, so he didn't say more and found an excuse to leave the classroom. At this point, probably no one believed Zhao Chun could win this duel. But Zhao Chun was determined to win and prove them wrong. The third Starship Duel Zone under the North Star Starship Academy had already been arranged in advance. This area is located outside the North Star Starship Academy, made up of dozens of abandoned, uninhabited asteroids. It is used specifically for starship simulation battles or starship duels at the Academy. Right now, the duel was being broadcast live on the Academy's internal network, which is standard for starship duels. Someone had tuned into the broadcast channel, and a hologram was projected in the center of the classroom. When does Zhao Chen's and Zhang Haoren's duel start? I saw the announcement. It's scheduled for 10 o'clock. It's already 10 o'clock now. According to the rules, both starships must arrive at the battle zone within half an hour. Look, that's Zhang Haoren's starship. It's actually a T2 White Eagle-class light interstellar cruiser. That's one of the best T2 starships in our Starshine Empire. Its speed is second only to the T2 Interstellar of the same class. I heard this T2 White Eagle now costs at least 7 million star coins, and it's currently rare and hard to find. You might not even be able to buy one. Oh no, Zhao Chun is doomed this time. The students in Class 8 were all pessimistic about Zhao Chun. His starship was right there. How could he fight? Could Zhao Chun possibly bring out an even better starship than this one? Captain Xin Bing stared at the T2 White Eagle-class light interstellar cruiser. She didn't show the envy that other students had because she had studied this ship and found it to be a flashy but not very practical design. Its only good point is speed. Besides that, its equipment is only like a heavily modified version of an interstellar destroyer. Since it is a light ship, its armor isn't very strong, and its weapons are not up to the standard level of a T2 interstellar cruiser. But in a one-on-one fight, if the captain of the White Eagle commands carefully, they could use a kite-flying tactic, relying on high speed to defeat most other ships. However, in real space battles involving fleets, this ship wouldn't be very useful. Captain, what do you think? Does Zhao Chun still have a chance? Xin Bing's best friend leaned in and asked curiously. Xin Bing's class captain wasn't chosen for her looks. She was the best student in Class 8. If she hadn't come from an ordinary background, she could have been in a top-ranked class. Still, over the past 3 years, Xin Bing had always been in the top 10 of her grade in exams. She was known as a commoner genius. Very unlikely, Xin Bing said calmly. Then yesterday, he looked so confident. Isn't that just embarrassing for him? If I were him, I'd probably have already gone back to his territory and become a useless baron, her friend said bluntly, mocking. There were also many cold comments in the class. Class 8 was a commoner class, mostly students from humble backgrounds or star trade families. Only Zhao Chun was an exception. His status was looked down upon even among nobles. Among commoners, he was an outsider, and naturally, everyone was wary of him as a baron student. Xin Bing didn't speak. She remembered Zhao Chen's expression yesterday. He was very confident then. Could it just be arrogance? Why hasn't Zhao Chen's ship appeared yet? Less than 15 minutes left in the half-hour limit. Is this guy really running away? I don't care if he wins or loses, but it's embarrassing for our class. Forget it, forget it. Anyway, he lost, so next semester I won't have to see his bad attitude anymore. The students of Class 8 teased and mocked each other. Suddenly, there was a loud, "It's Li Wei." He slammed his fist against the wall, glaring coldly at everyone in the classroom. Anyone who looked directly at Li Wei quickly looked away. Li Wei's status in Class 8 is considered top tier because his father is a wealthy businessman. Zhao Chun is still one of our students in Class 8. If you won't support your classmate, that's fine, but stop mocking him. What about the friendship we learned in military training class? Li Wei scolded. The students in the classroom didn't answer Li Wei directly, but some whispered to each other, mostly saying unkind things. Cough, cough, cough. At this moment, a voice came from Li Wei. It's the teacher for this class. All right, class, it's time to start. Please go back to your seats. The teacher glanced at Li Wei, then entered the classroom and stood at the podium, ready to begin the lesson. Li Wei clenched his fists and sat quietly back in his seat. He cared deeply about Zhao Chun, but since this morning, he hadn't been able to contact him. Look, that strange starship. Could it be Zhao Chen's starship? Someone suddenly exclaimed. Everyone's eyes focused on the holographic broadcast window. In the vast universe, besides the T2 White Eagle, another starship was slowly approaching. The ship was painted in a plain metallic color, and compared to Zhang Haoren's T2 White Eagle, this starship looked battered, with some parts clearly patched up. What kind of starship is that? I don't recognize it. It looks like an interstellar battleship. But those weapons aren't the usual caliber for a battleship. This shabby starship, I guess Zhang Haoran's T2 White Eagle shot it to pieces with one blast. Seeing this strange starship, the students in Class 8 all regarded it as trash. Shinbing, you're good at studying. Do you know what kind of starship this is? Her best friend asked again. Shinbing examined it carefully, frowning. This starship has features of 3 different types of starships. T2 Hyena Class Medium Interstellar Destroyer, T2 Devil Crocodile Class Medium Interstellar Battleship, and T2 Grey Wolf Class Light Interstellar Cruiser. Could this be a self-assembled starship? Self-assembled starship? Zhao Qin wants to defeat a T2 White Eagle with a self-assembled starship? He's not dreaming, is he? My best friend said mockingly. Shinbing stared at this old-fashioned self-assembled starship without speaking. Class is starting. Turn off unrelated things. Your most important task now is studying, not doing unimportant things. Be honest and work steadily, the teacher announced at this moment. But his words seemed to hide something else. Li Wei clenched his fists, feeling angry and unfair. The holographic video inside the classroom also turned off. Li Wei really wanted to know how Zhao Chun and Zhang Haoran would fight next, but his grades were different from Zhao Chen's. Missing a month of classes wouldn't cause him to fall behind, but he had to attend every class. Earlier, Zhao Chen only told him not to worry and to focus on studying, promising good news later. But who can focus on studying in such a situation? Not only him, but many students in Class 8 were curious. They weren't interested in the outcome, but in how Zhao Chun would lose. They guessed he would lose badly. Number 3 Starship Dual Zone Dual Arbitration Area. This is a small space hub responsible for judging duels in the Number 3 Starship Dual Zone. It also serves as the first spectator area. Fewer than 100 people are here, but today's audience has the most eye-catching scenery. Because 3 famous beauties from the Northern Star Starship Military Academy are present. Your brother really came? A cute girl with twin ponytails, less than 1.5 meters tall, covered her mouth in surprise. Zhao Warner looked complicated. He has no other special traits, just a very stubborn personality. So that's the starship you mentioned before, assembled by your brother himself? And it can still move? Next to her, a cold and elegant beauty with long hair down to her waist, crossed her arms and said calmly, assembling 3 old starships into one starship in a month and making it run smoothly shows your brother is quite good at starship engineering. Zhao Warner looked at the icy beauty and bit her lip gently. Sister Sulan, if my brother really loses, could you please talk to Zhang Haoran and ask him to cancel the bet? Both of these people are her friends. The girl with twin ponytails is her classmate, Shui Xiaoxiao. The icy beauty in front of her is her senior, Sulan. Sulan has a very high status. It is said that even the college president shows her respect. If it's before the duel, maybe it's easier to handle. But after the duel, Sulan frowned slightly. Seeing Zhao Warner's pleading face, she felt a bit sorry for her. She sighed and said, I can't stop your brother from dropping out, but he will definitely be humiliated by Zhang Haoran afterward. Just don't let him drop out. Just don't let him drop out. Zhao Warner nodded repeatedly, happily holding Sulan's arm. I knew you were the best, Sister Sulan. Warner, your brother hasn't even fought yet. How do you know he lost? Maybe he will win, muttered the girl with twin ponytails. Zhao Warner said, how could he win? My brother is just a starship, and what they have is a T2 White Eagle class light starship worth 7 million star coins. Among the student starships at our college, this one ranks in the top 10 for combat ability when fighting alone. She looked at the assembled starship with complicated eyes. She also hoped her brother could win, but it seemed impossible. At this moment, the judges had already contacted the captains of the 2 starships. 2 video screens appeared before the judges. One showed the bridge of the T2 White Eagle. Zhang Haoran was sitting on the captain's chair, dressed in a fancy military uniform. It wasn't a standard uniform, probably something he found somewhere. Next to him stood a middle-aged man in his 40s or 50s, whose demeanor showed he was a retired officer. The other screen showed a much more modest bridge. Zhao Chun sat on an old captain's chair, smiling faintly. Behind him was a girl with white hair, a half-beast, with visible fierce scars on her face and a cold expression. Is that a half-beast? The girl with twin ponytails exclaimed. Zhao Warner covered her face and said helplessly, after my brother built this starship, he didn't have much money left. He only managed to buy a group of half-orc slaves to serve as crew members. Half-orc crew members? Su Lan frowned slightly. She was increasingly convinced that her friend's brother was not very reliable. The duel is between second-grade student Zhang Haoran and third-grade student Zhao Chun. The rules are simple. No leaving the duel area, and it is an unlimited duel. The fight ends when one starship surrenders, loses the ability to fight, or the judges declare a loss. Once the judges announce the final result, the fight is over, and no further attacks are allowed. Do both sides understand the rules clearly? Announced a middle-aged male judge. Understood, Zhang Haoran sneered. He could see Zhao Chun on the video screen opposite him. He didn't expect this guy to actually dare to appear in front of him. And he was still piloting such a battered starship. He was confident he would win this duel. Understood, Zhao Chun replied calmly, even yawning casually, as if what was about to happen didn't matter to him at all. The judges will randomly select a spawn point for each starship within the duel zone. You must reach your spawn point within 10 minutes. When everyone is in position, the judges will declare the start of the fight. After the judge finished speaking, he pressed a device. Soon, 2 circles, one blue and one red, appeared on the star map of the duel area. These marked the spawn points for each side. Both starships received this location information and started heading toward their designated areas. At this moment, Zhang Haoran mocked Zhao Chun through the video window, clapping as he said, "Zhao Chun, I really admire your courage. I didn't expect you to actually come. Where did you find this battered starship? Its armor looks like it would break with a single touch. If I fire a missile and up your starship, wouldn't that be a bit cruel?" Zhang Haoran's face twisted into a sinister smile. After all, killing your opponent in a starship duel isn't against the rules. Zhao Chun stretched lazily and scratched his ear. Are you done talking? Once you're finished, you can start looking for a flight home. Zhang Haoran's mouth twitched as he pointed at Zhao Chun. You really don't know when to give up. Fine. Soon, you'll see what real strength looks like. You Zhao Chun are just a useless noble, while I am destined to become a viscount, even a count someday. At this moment, the video windows of both sides were cut off by the referee team. Zhang Haoran looked to his side at the deputy captain assigned by his father. Deputy Captain Wang, I want you to play with that guy's starship like you're playing with a mouse. Destroy it completely. Wang Cheng was the deputy captain hired by Zhang Haoran's father. He used to be a starship captain in the Empire's military. He raised his head confidently. Young Master Zhang, don't worry. I promise that ship won't make it back to port. The starship he commanded was a T-2 White Eagle, one of the fastest T-2 starships, though it had some weaknesses in space battles. But for a starship duel like this, with just a college student and a battered starship, he had countless ways to destroy it. Meanwhile, on the bridge of the Zero Storm, Zhao Chun looked at his vice captain, Charlotte. Charlotte, are you confident? Fight will be over in 10 minutes. If it takes longer, I'll be the one to call the shots, Charlotte replied calmly. Her expression showed she wasn't very interested in this fight at all. Zhao Chun felt a little excited. He touched the armrest of the captain's chair, which looked a bit old-fashioned. This was going to be his first starship battle. Begin the battle. At the same time, the bridges of the Zero Storm and the T-2 White Eagle-class light star cruiser both announced the start of the fight. Supporters of Zhang Haoran cheered loudly in the duel arena. Go, young Master Zhang. Show that overconfident guy who's boss. Hope Zhao Chun struggles a bit. If the fight ends in just a few minutes, it's a waste of us coming all this way to watch. Haha. These were Zhang Haoran's friends, who fully believed he would win this starship duel. Among the spectators was also Jiang Shasha. She looked indifferently at the video feed, which was transmitted from a battlefield drone. The footage showed 2 starships departing from their home bases and heading toward the enemy starship, assuming both sides maintained their course. In 10 minutes, both starships would be within firing range of each other. Zhao Chun, this time you overestimated yourself. Being expelled is your own fault. Don't blame me, Jiang Shasha thought silently. In her mind, there was no doubt about the outcome of this duel. Besides Zhang Haoran winning, was there any other possibility? Number 0 Blizzard. Bridge current heading and speed are maintained at 40 star knots, Vice Captain Charlotte reported, now responsible for the ship's combat operations under Zhao Chun's authorization. 40 star knots? Are you planning to be a pig to swallow an elephant? Zhao Chun chuckled softly, looking at Charlotte. Charlotte replied calmly, I just don't want to waste time on boring things. Zhao Chun, feeling bored himself, raised his hand and activated the holographic display, bringing up data on Number 0 Blizzard. Number 0 Blizzard ship type: Starship Cruiser, Interstellar Destroyer, Interstellar Battleship, technology level: T2 hull armor strength, 210 to 270 units cruising speed, 100 star knots warp drive, level 3 warp engine mass, 85,000 tons crew, 50 personnel starship weapons, 1 T2 heavy 1,200 mm Devil Crocodile cannon, single shot, 300-second interval, 5 T2 medium Hound laser cannons, single shot, 180-second interval, 130 mm T2 medium closed defense turrets, double shot, no interval. The 3 weapons on No. 0 Blizzard included 2 mounted openly on the hull, while the first was a hidden design, a precaution Zhao Chun kept in mind. Can I roughly guess your battle plan? Zhao Chun rubbed his chin, looking at Charlotte. As the captain, you can revoke my command at any time. Here, your words are divine, Vice Captain Charlotte replied. Zhao Chun raised his hand again and opened a simpler starship profile. It was the enemy's T2 White Eagle. The T2 White Eagle's weapons mainly consist of 3 types: 5 T2 medium 180 mm rapid-fire guns, firing every 10 seconds, 2150 mm quadruple closed defense guns, firing 4 shots at once without delay, and a primary weapon, a T2 medium White Eagle laser cannon, firing 1 shot every 210 seconds. Zhao Chen's eyes sparkled. Our main advantage is our starship's performance, which they don't understand. When you ordered us to maintain 40 knots, you wanted to create a false impression. Our top speed is just over 40 knots. But when the real fight begins, we will surprise them. The 5 T2 medium 180 mm rapid-fire guns are powerful, but have a short range. The only real threat to us is their laser main cannon. So, when their laser cannon fires, we can suddenly speed up to create distance and avoid their attack. The laser's firing path is predictable, and the timing is enough for us to dodge. When their laser cannon enters cooling mode, that's our chance to strike. Charlotte looked at Zhao Chun. You really went to a military academy, didn't you? I've never seen a starship reach 100 knots in the T2 class. That's why I previously called this Zero Storm a T2 undefeated starship. She predicted the general plan of the battle. Zhao Chun sat relaxed in the captain's chair, waiting for the show to begin. Soon, the Zero Storm and the T2 White Eagle appeared within each other's radar range. Charlotte checked the time and muttered, 10:45. She set a countdown, displayed as a hologram between her and Zhao Chun. Countdown 10 o'clock. This girl was serious. She had previously told Zhao Chun that the battle would end in 10 minutes. Meanwhile, the T2 White Eagle also made a move. Report, target detected. The target is approaching at about 40 knots, the radar officer reported. Full speed ahead. Fire on that wrecked starship, Zhang Haoran said excitedly. Vice Captain Wang Chung glanced at Zhang Haoran. Usually, rushing straight ahead at full speed without knowing the enemy's starship capabilities is a big mistake in space battles. But he thought, the opponent is just a student. That strange-looking starship doesn't look impressive. The weapons on it are not very powerful. It probably isn't a big threat. Moreover, the T2 White Eagle starship can reach speeds of up to 65 stars per hour. If something urgent happens, they can rely on their high speed to adapt quickly. Captain's orders. Our ship will head toward the target at full speed. All weapons are on standby. Although Wang Chung gave the order directly, he used Zhang Haoran's name to show respect, since he was working for him. Use our T2 laser main cannon. Once within attack range, fire a shot first to show them the difference in strength between starships. Haha. I bet Zhao Chun will be so scared he'll fall out of his captain's chair, Zhang Haoran said, imagining how Zhao Chun would look frightened. Yes, Wang Chung agreed. He had no objections to this plan, as the outcome of this duel was already decided. Soon, both starships were about to enter maximum firing range. Charlotte kept her eyes fixed on the starship radar map, as if waiting for something. Warning. Warning. Laser weapon attack detected. Warning. Warning. Zhao Chun noticed Charlotte's slight smile and the ripple in her usually calm eyes. Full speed, turn right. Charlotte's deputy captain shouted sharply. Sitting in the corner, Zhao Wanner clenched her fists tightly, her eyes full of worry. T2 White Eagle's main laser cannon isn't very powerful. If it hits at this range, it will only cause heavy damage, not destroy, Sister Sulan said nearby. She no longer believed Zhao Chen could win. She just hoped he would be smart enough to surrender. She didn't care about his life or death, only that she didn't want her good friend to be sad. Stubborn brother, you can't get hurt. As long as the green hills remain, firewood will always be available, Zhao Wanner muttered to herself. Everyone watching the broadcast saw the T2 White Eagle ship's front-mounted medium laser cannon glow with sparks, signaling it was about to fire. A few seconds later, a laser shot out directly toward the target starship. But an unexpected scene happened. On the broadcast, some data about the starship's performance was being monitored, including its speed. The ship, Zero Snowstorm, which was originally traveling at 40 knots, suddenly turned right and sped up. In less than 3 seconds, its speed increased from 40 knots to 80 knots. Its movement traced a curved line around the T2 White Eagle, as if drawing a circle's edge. This caused the laser to miss its target and go off course. The audience was stunned. What's going on? Was I mistaken earlier? Why did Zero Snowstorm suddenly speed up so much? Pure coincidence. It must be. Or maybe our sensors are malfunctioning. How could that wreck of a starship reach 80 knots? That's impossible. T2 White Eagle's top speed is only 65 knots. But how did it manage to dodge the main laser cannon of the T2 White Eagle? Faced with these questions, those who doubted Zhao Chen fell silent. What just happened? Little Shui, with twin ponytails, stared wide-eyed at her two sisters. 80 knots. How is that possible? Zhao Wanner swallowed hard. Sister Su Lan's gaze also sharpened as she focused on the live broadcast. The Zero Storm, after completing a curved maneuver, turned left again, aiming straight at T2 White Eagle, while its speed continued to increase. 85 knots, 90 knots, 95 knots. Everyone was staring intently at the speed data for Zero Storm. Finally, the speed settled at 100 knots. That was everyone's thought. Even the judges looked surprised. Reaching 100 knots is rare for T2 starships. Usually only special or heavily modified ships can do that. But that plain-looking assembled starship was actually reaching 100 knots. How is that possible? At this moment, Zhao Chen on Zero Storm was not paying attention to the audience's curiosity. He was breathing quickly, eyes fixed on the radar star map, watching the laser attack trail past the back of Zero Storm. It looked like the distance was quite far. But according to the starship system, just 1 second slower, and Zero Storm could be hit. It might not be destroyed in one shot, but damage to the ship was unavoidable. Time to fight back. Show our 1,200mm cannon. Take him down. Zhao Chen was excited, standing up quickly, 1 foot on the captain's chair, pointing forward. Vice Captain Charlotte gave the order. Target the enemy ship, full speed ahead. Also, activate the T2 Heavy 1,200mm Devil Crocodile Cannon. Understood. Full speed ahead. Activating T2 Heavy 1,200mm Devil Crocodile Cannon. It will take 10 seconds. 10. Suddenly, a hatch appeared at the front of Zero Storm, opening to reveal a dark barrel. The audience couldn't sit still anymore. Everyone stood up. Even some of the mentors were surprised and stood up. One middle-aged mentor said in shock, "Is that a T2 Devil Crocodile class medium starship's 1,200mm cannon? How could it be? On this starship? Give me the records of this student at the academy." The chief judge ordered the person next to him. A record was quickly retrieved. The chief judge looked at the record and suddenly understood. T2 Grey Wolf. T2 Devil Crocodile. T2 Hyena. All correct. This person had assembled a starship using these 3 types of starships, and had even installed the main gun of the T2 Devil Crocodile at the front of his starship. Some attentive audience members in the back heard this. Oh my, it's the main gun of the T2 Devil Crocodile class medium-sized interstellar battleship. T2 Devil Crocodile class medium-sized battleship? What kind of starship is that? I told you not to neglect your studies. This is a starship from a century ago, called the T2 Starship Battleship. Back then, they focused on heavy firepower. They installed the largest caliber gun at the time, a 1,200mm main cannon, which was a type of artillery. Legend has it that no T2 starship could withstand a single shot from this cannon. 1,200mm caliber. Isn't that a feature only T3 starships have? Why haven't I heard of this starship before? Because it had major design flaws. While it emphasized firepower, It didn't consider whether the other systems of the T-2 starship could handle such a powerful weapon. It often experienced various malfunctions. Plus, it was very expensive to build, costing several times more than a typical T-2 starship, and was discontinued less than 30 years after its release. At this moment, Sister Sulan was also moved. She looked at Zhao Wanner and asked, "You didn't mention before that your brother installed this gun on his starship?" I'm not really sure." Zhao Wanner looked a bit strange now. What exactly was her brother up to? Big gun. Big gun. I love big guns the most. The twin-tailed girl Shui Xiao jumped up and down excitedly, her eyes shining. Sister Sulan and Zhao Wanner both looked helpless. Shui Xiao was having another episode. She had a serious obsession with big guns, especially loving starships with large-caliber cannons. At this moment, under everyone's watchful eyes, Number 0 Storm was rushing toward the T-2 White Eagle-class light interstellar cruiser at incredible speed. Seeing the shiny 1,200mm Devil Crocodile cannon, everyone guessed Number 0 Storm's plan. Everyone held their breath, waiting for what was about to happen. Why does that starship have a T-2 Devil Crocodile-class medium starship battleships? 1,200mm cannon. Full-speed evasive maneuvers. All close-in weapons ready to intercept. Deputy Captain Wang Chung ordered sternly. Deputy Captain Wang, what's going on? That huge cannon, and the speed of that broken starship. We aren't in danger, are we? We still hope to win this battle, right? Zhang Haoran's face was pale. Although he was a spoiled rich kid, he had studied at the Starship Military Academy for 3 years, so he knew some basics. He knew that a 1,200mm cannon was very powerful. Deputy Captain Wang Chung didn't answer because everyone could see the situation clearly. Their main laser cannon was cooling down and charging, while the secondary weapons were still out of range to attack. Meanwhile, the enemy starship was flying nearly 100 knots, and the 1,200mm cannon was ready to fire. Their T-2 White Eagle had become prey under the enemy's guns. The only hope was that the enemy's attack wouldn't hit their starship, so they could counterattack and maybe still have a chance. But, just thinking about the enemy ship's terrifying speed of 100 knots, Wang Chung felt very worried. This isn't a military academy. The enemy isn't a poor noble. How can they have a starship that can go 100 knots? Number 0 Blizzard, bridge 1 minute from now, we will reach the maximum range of the enemy's secondary weapons. Before that, we will fire first. Charlotte looked at Captain Zhao Chun and said, "I'll handle aiming directly. You give the fire command." "No problem," Zhao Chun nodded. "I'll take over aiming the Devil Crocodile cannon," Charlotte said, taking over the firing preparations. In 40 seconds, the starship's speed will drop to 0. Yes. In 40 seconds, reduce speed. The navigation officer responded. Why reduce speed? When a starship fires its weapons, is it more accurate while moving or when stationary? The answer is obvious. 40 seconds pass in the blink of an eye. The crew immediately begins to operate. Start reducing speed. Engine reverse system activated. Current speed 80. 60, 40, 25. Report. The starship's current speed is 0. The starship is stationary. Mission complete. It took less than 5 seconds for the Number 0 Blizzard to slow from 100 knots to 0. This again surprises the students and instructors in the audience, as the engine's acceleration and deceleration abilities are incredibly powerful. At this moment, everyone knows what will happen next. Charlotte begins checking the starship's automatic targeting data for its weapons system. The 1,200mm caliber Demon Crocodile artillery is already aimed at the T-2 White Eagle. Once confirmed, she reports, "Captain, lock-on complete. Ready to fire at any moment." Fire. Zhao Chen's shout echoes through the bridge. This feeling is just so exciting. Almost at the same time, the 1,200mm heavy Demon Crocodile artillery roars again after more than 80 years. A high-explosive shell with a diameter of 1,200mm is fired from the barrel at a very high speed. At the moment of firing, Zhao Chun can even feel the entire bridge shake slightly. From an external view, this shot causes the Number 0 Blizzard to shift backward by several meters, with its bow slightly raised. You can also see the chemical smoke still lingering at the muzzle of the 1,200mm heavy Demon Crocodile artillery. Warning! Warning! Warning. Attack detected locking onto this ship. Please evade. Please evade. Please evade. Warning. 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 Attack detected locking onto this ship. Please evade. Please evade. Please evade. Warning. 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 Attack detected locking onto this ship. Please evade. Please evade. Please evade. The bridge of the T2 White Eagle flashes red, and system warning sounds ring nonstop. All starship close-in weapons. Fire barrage to intercept. Hurry. 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 Vice Captain Wang Chung urgently issues the interception command. The 20-mounted 150mm T2 medium quad close-in weapons on the T2 White Eagle are now firing at full power, forming a dense interception net. Unfortunately, these small-caliber closed defense gunfire was no match for the giant 1,200mm cannon. It was like trying to stop a moving train with a stick. A deafening sound echoed through the White Eagle ship's bridge, causing the entire bridge to tilt to one side. Zhang Haoran was suddenly thrown into the air, flying 3 meters away. His head hit a corner hard, and blood streamed down his face. He fell to the ground, clutching his bleeding head, trembling and frightened. What? What is happening? Am I going to die? I don't want to die. Mom. Mom, help me. Vice Captain Wang Qing no longer cared about the young master's delicate feelings. During the attack, he didn't even remember basic self-protection. Report. The ship's left side armor has been pierced, and a nearby ammunition room has exploded, causing a chain reaction. 37 compartments are affected, and they have been sealed off. 8 crew members are dead. The number of injured is unknown. Report. The explosion affected our starship's power system. Power supply is dropping at 10% per minute. If not controlled, the ship will lose all power within 10 minutes. Report. Our weapons system is malfunctioning. Some weapon modules cannot be used. Report. The ship's speed is decreasing and cannot be controlled. The entire bridge was filled with bad news. How could this happen? Vice Captain Wang Chung looked shocked. He never expected a single enemy shot to cause such damage. Now, the T2 White Eagle was badly damaged. Continuing the fight could destroy the ship and kill everyone. Young Master Zhang. We lost. Surrender, Wang Chung said seriously, walking up to Zhang Haoran. Lost. Lost. How is that possible? How could this happen? You're a great captain. My dad paid you to lead us. How could you let us lose? If I lose, I have to leave the North Star. You useless fool. Zhang Haoran, now calm after the explosion stopped, staggered to his feet and slapped Wang Chung across the face. Wang Chung looked down silently. Just then, the ship shook again with more explosions. What's going on? What's happening? Zhang Haoran immediately crouched down in fear. He looked up at the front window of the command bridge. The T2 White Eagle's bridge uses special glass with a 100 degrees viewing angle, allowing a clear view of space outside. This bridge window isn't ordinary glass. Its strength is even greater than the armor of a starship, making it one of the most protected areas. However, because it's expensive, only a few parts of the ship are equipped with it. Right now, the window had spiderweb-like cracks spreading across it. Report. Enemy ships are rapidly approaching, and their secondary weapons are damaging our ship. Crew members hurriedly reported. Report. The front armor of the ship is damaged by 20%. Report. The front armor damage has increased to 40%. Maybe it was just his imagination, but Zhang Haoran felt like he could hear the glass cracking. He imagined the entire window shattering and what would happen to him. At this moment, he felt a cold chill in his lower body. He panicked and begged, I give up. I surrender. All the mentors, spectators, and students were stunned. A single shot from Zero Snowstorm had almost completely destroyed the T2 White Eagle light cruiser, leaving it on the verge of sinking. Everyone could clearly see a huge crater, at least 10 meters across, on the right side armor of the White Eagle, with occasional flashes of fire from internal explosions. After that, Zero Snowstorm continued its attack, causing more damage to the White Eagle's front armor. If the fight continued, there was only one outcome. By this time, the judges were ready to declare a forced conclusion, as the result was obvious. At this moment, the White Eagle also admitted defeat voluntarily. The chief judge announced that Zhao Chen's Zero Snowstorm was the winner of this starship duel and immediately contacted Zhao Chun to stop his ship's attack. This starship is just too powerful. Zhang Haoran, lost so easily. So Zhao Chun. 1. Many people were speechless for a long time. Among them was Jiang Shasha, who looked stunned, her eyes wide open. Zhao Chun. 1. Zhao Chun's battered Starship won against Zhang Haoran's T2 White Eagle. Thinking back to the restaurant earlier, Zhao Chun's indifference made Jiang Sasa feel uncomfortable, especially after Zhao Chun won this battle. Sasa. Zhao Chun actually won. A friend who came with Jiang Sasa looked at her with a strange expression. I'm not blind, Jiang Sasa said gloomily, glancing at the strange starship in the broadcast, then turned to leave the audience area and head back to the academy. Sasa, you're not waiting for Zhang Xiao. Wait for me. When some people are in a bad mood, others are feeling very happy. Did you see that? The big cannon is the only truth. Warner, your brother's ship is really awesome. When can you ask your brother to let me go aboard? I want to see it, and maybe even touch his 1,200mm main gun. The twin-tailed girl Shui Xiaoxiao's eyes sparkled as she looked at Zhao Warner. Zhao Warner's expression was one of shock and disbelief. Is it over now? It took less than 5 minutes from the two starships entering the combat zone to the battle ending. Most importantly, that one shot was unexpected. No one thought it would end the fight so quickly. The T2 White Eagle's armor is naturally thin, especially against a T2 heavy 1,200mm Demon Crocodile cannon. If it hits the armor, it usually results in serious damage, piercing through the armor and causing the cabin to explode. That might just be good luck for your brother. But I have to say, this assembled starship is really strong, with a speed of 100 knots. That's incredible, Sister Sulan commented nearby, smiling at Zhao Warner. Looks like your brother doesn't need my help anymore. At this moment, Sister Sulan's impression of her friend's brother changed significantly, and she became curious. To be able to assemble such a starship from 3 old ships in just a month, that student named Zhao Chun, in his 3rd year, is quite capable. During the impressive Zero Storm, Zhao Chun was excitedly waving his fists on his ship's bridge. Wow, it was a direct hit. We got lucky. It probably hit the enemy's ammunition room and caused an explosion. It affected multiple systems on the ship's body, Charlotte analyzed nearby. This is also why she ordered a high-speed charge and continued attacking earlier. Such a good opportunity. Being a seasoned veteran, how could she not seize the chance to pursue victory? Zhao Chun remembered the special reward the system had given earlier, a fleet luck bonus. Because of this reward, he could only recruit female soldiers. Thinking about it, this one-shot kill must be related to that bonus. Wouldn't it be great if every shot could be a perfect hit like this? Zhao Chun imagined. Whether this setting is true or not can only be confirmed in future battles. Zhao Chun, you have already won. Please stop all attacks immediately. The referee's voice sounded. Understood, Zhao Chun replied. Looking at the battered T2 White Eagle, the part of the ship that was pierced no longer had any flames, but thick smoke was still billowing. It probably couldn't make it back on its own and would have to wait for the interstellar tow ship for help. Referee, can I connect to the T2 White Eagle's video communication? Zhao Chun made a request. The referee hesitated for a moment, but finally agreed. As the judging team, they had the right to access video communication with both starships at any time. Soon, a video window appeared in front of Zhao Chun. On the other side was a chaotic bridge, with thick smoke and scattered damaged parts, completely different from the bright and tidy scene earlier. Captain Zhang Haoran was sitting on the ground, pale, with a puddle of water beneath him. Huh, Zhang Haoran, you actually peed yourself out of fear, Zhao Chun's voice echoed in Zhang Haoran's bridge. Startled, Zhang Haoran noticed the communication window. He angrily pointed at Zhao Chun, saying, Zhao Chun, you're cheating. You can't have won honestly. You must be cheating. Referee, listen to what we're saying. You're accusing me of cheating now. Isn't that questioning the fairness of the judging team? Zhao Chun teased. The referee, responsible for connecting the video, replied coldly, Zhang Haoran, this starship duel was monitored throughout, and there are no issues. If you have any objections to our decision, you can report to our higher authorities. Zhao Chun, if there's nothing else, let's end this communication here. It was clear that the chief judge had a poor opinion of this spoiled young man. Chief judge, just one last thing. Zhao Chun looked at Zhang Haoran calmly. The duel is over. Young Master Zhang probably hasn't forgotten our bet, right? It was approved by the Academy. Zhang Haoran, according to your Starship Duel Agreement, You will withdraw from the North Star Starship Military Academy. Do you understand clearly? The chief judge added. Understood. I understand. Zhang Haoran looked lost. If he really dropped out of the academy, he would be doomed. His Viscount father would surely be furious and punish him. The video call ended. Zhao Chun didn't bother to pay attention to the defeated opponent. Return to the ship, Zhao Chun said as he sat in the captain's chair, feeling very happy. But the controversy over this interstellar duel was far from over. Today's class is over, the teacher announced. Immediately, some students started searching for the live stream of the Starship duel, only to find it had already been shut down. Why can't I find Zhao Chun and Zhang Haoran's duel anymore? A nearby student chuckled. Come on, it's been a while. I bet Zhao Chun was already defeated by Zhang Haoran. He's a T2 White Eagle. Yeah, it's also Zhao Chun's fault, biting off more than he can chew. Well, at least our class is missing one annoying guy. Next year, we have a group mission. If that guy joins, our class will be in trouble. Many students were mocking and criticizing at this moment. Li Wei, with a grim face, started contacting Zhao Chun. He was already thinking of ways to help him. Wait, something's not right. Look at our academy's trending search list. A girl who loved browsing the online forums suddenly exclaimed. Zhao Chun seems to have won. Hearing her words, the students in the classroom were all surprised. Some who were farther away even wondered if they had heard wrong. How could Zhao Chun have won? Maybe you saw it wrong, a boy chuckled softly. This was posted on the college's online forum. If you don't believe it, just look for yourself. The girl enlarged the holographic screen in front of her so everyone could see. On the trending list, there's a post climbing very quickly. The title is, Zhao Chun defeats Zhang Haoran to win the Starship duel. Surprising appearance of a 1,200mm heavy cannon. One shot takes down T2 White Eagle. There are also a few other related posts, but none are as popular as this one. That's because this post includes a full video of the fight. It even shows a close-up and detailed description of the 1,200mm heavy cannon. Zhao Chun won. How is that possible? Some students still didn't believe it. The girl clicked to play the duel video. Only 5 minutes? This video must be fake, one student questioned after noticing the short length. Usually, Starship duels of this level last at least half an hour, sometimes several hours of intense fighting. How could it be over in just 5 minutes? But then, the video footage made everyone in the room shut up. Even the teacher, who had been watching without leaving the classroom, came over to see the hologram. It showed the number 0 Blizzard starship quickly avoiding the laser main guns of the T2 White Eagle light cruiser at a speed of 100 knots. Then, it showed the Blizzard reducing from 100 knots to a complete stop in just 5 seconds. And there was more exciting footage. When the 1,200mm cannon appeared, some boys in the classroom got excited. Then, they saw the cannon fire, hitting the White Eagle directly and heavily damaging it. Everyone was stunned. Oh my gosh, how could Zhao Chun's starship have a 1,200mm cannon? One student exclaimed. The teacher stepped forward, swallowed hard, and said in surprise, if I'm not mistaken, that should be a T2 medium starship battleship equipped with a T2 heavy 1,200mm cannon. Hearing this, the students started discussing loudly. Some still doubted whether the video was fake. It wasn't until someone found the official college website Starship Duel channel, which announced the results of today's duel, that everyone believed it. I just confirmed the truth of this matter. ID 30 his eyes showed disbelief. He really won. Wow. My brother is amazing. My brother won. Li Wei finally comes back to himself and is so excited, it's as if he won himself. He points at the people in the classroom and says boldly, Did you see that? That's my brother, Li Wei. You all used to mock him and wish he would leave. But now, my brother made a perfect shot, and that Zhang Haoran isn't even worthy to tie his shoes. You all are so shallow. Go find a cooler place to stay. After saying this, Li Wei ignores the angry looks from others and runs out to find Zhao Chun and get the full story. He can't believe Zhao Chun actually won. There must be something he's hiding. Inside the classroom, after Li Wei's teasing and insults, no one dares to speak. Even the teacher looks embarrassed because he previously thought Zhao Chun would definitely lose. Now, Li Wei's words feel like a slap in their faces. The Zero Storm is docked at the Star Harbor of the Northern Starship Military Academy, in a reserve berth that Zhao Chun booked early. Since the Zero Storm didn't suffer any damage during the fight, it doesn't need repairs. Alright, the mission is complete. You're free to move around on this starship within allowed areas, Zhao Qian says, patting Vice Captain Charlotte on the shoulder. Actually, Zhao Qian's eyes are on Charlotte's fluffy head. He wants to see what it feels like to pet this white tiger beast girl, but it's just a thought. Charlotte's sharp tiger teeth are not just for show. He notices her white, torn ears. Looking at them makes him feel a bit sad and affects her overall appearance. Zhao Qian is determined again. He must fix Charlotte's body in the future. After all, Charlotte is now his vice captain, so it's a kind of crew benefit. Yes, Charlotte quietly responds. Zhao Qian leaves the bridge and goes back to his captain's quarters. Walking into the captain's bedroom, the space was quite large, about 50 square meters. It had a bedroom, a living room, a desk, and even a bathroom for showers. Even though the layout was old-fashioned, from many years ago, the captain's living conditions were still quite good. Zhao Qian had seen the crew quarters of the spaceship. They were similar to dorm rooms from school in his previous life, but even smaller. One room held 6 three-layer foldable beds, enough for 18 people to live there. The corridor between the beds was less than a meter wide, and 18 people shared one bathroom. That smell. Even after decades, Zhao Qian still felt a bit nostalgic. Even on a spaceship, space was limited, so they had to squeeze the living areas for ordinary crew members. Of course, there were special single and double rooms for high-ranking officers. Now, the situation was worse. The dormitory area, originally meant for 50 crew members, now housed 100 half-orc crew members. Many half-orcs had to sleep on the floor. Compared to that, Zhao Qian's living environment was incredibly comfortable. Zhao Qian flopped onto the big bed. He enjoyed the comfort for a few seconds before getting to work. After defeating Zhang Haoran, the task system had already notified him that the task was complete and that he could claim his reward. Task: challenge Zhang Haoran to a spaceship duel and defeat him during the fight. Difficulty: D-level reward. 1 task point and 300 points penalty for failure. Deduction of 300 points task completed. Please claim your reward. Zhao Qian thought about it. Reward claimed. 300 points and 1 task point at this moment. His interface showed these rewards. Host: Zhao Qian profession. Top spaceship engineer special attributes. Fleet luck bonus. Inside eye points. For 100 number of spaceships. 1 quest. Quarterly mission. Not completed. Warehouse. T3 Storm-class light interstellar battleship blueprint. His points increased from 100 to 400, and he gained an extra task point. Now that I have a task point, let's see if I can exchange for some good items in the shop. Zhao Qian opened the system shop and started looking for targets. The excitement in Zhao Qian gradually faded. As he scrolled down, almost all the items were T1 starships. The exchange requirements were not high. Just 1 mission point and dozens of system points could get a T1 item. But the problem was, Zhao Qian didn't like these T1 starships. Although, based on his understanding, these system starships were better than similar ships of the same level in reality, offering high value for their cost. No matter how good the cost-performance ratio was, or how strong the combat ability, they were still T1 starships. Currently, Zhao Qian's assembled old starships were at T2 level. So how could he build a T1 starship? The issue was, the shop only sold T1 technology items right now. Let's see how to upgrade. If it's T2, that's fine. T1 is really too weak. Zhao Qian immediately checked how to upgrade the system shop. T1 system shop upgrade conditions. First, exchange for a T1 item. Not completed. Second, complete a D-level system task. Completed. Third, spend 100 system points to upgrade the shop. Requires the first 2 conditions. So, there are upgrade requirements. Earlier, Zhao Qian's duel with Zhang Haoran was successful because he completed a D-level system task. He now has enough system points, 100. The only unmet requirement was exchanging for a T1 item. This brings me back to the start. I still need to exchange for a T1 item. Zhao Qian frowned. He thought for a moment, then suddenly had a bright idea. If he exchanges for T1 starship technology, he doesn't necessarily have to build it himself. He can sell it. Excellent starship technology has always been in high demand, but because of its rarity, few people sell it. Zhao Qian had no such concerns. Although selling directly might not bring as much profit as building and selling the ships himself, He didn't have much time to fuss over these details now. Better to sell it directly and make some quick money. I might rashly sell a T1 Starship technology. Even though it's the lowest level T1 tech, I'm just a student, and I'll definitely attract attention. I need to hide my identity first. Hiding his identity while selling starships, and wanting to make things easier without trouble. Zhao Chen thought carefully. Suddenly, he thought of someone. Li Wei's family is involved in interstellar trade, and they have a group company called Beiyin Interstellar Trade Group. It is said that in recent years, they have been expanding into starship military equipment trade. However, the starship products they have invested in and developed haven't done well, with very few orders. When Zhao Chun was chatting with Li Wei before, Li Wei casually mentioned that if they couldn't produce a popular starship by the end of this year, his family might give up on selling starships. This is a perfect opportunity. Having Li Wei act as a middleman could also reduce the risk of exposing his own identity. Zhao Chun immediately logged into the Academy's network and started researching information about Li Wei's family's starship trade. Over the past 5 years, Li Wei's family has launched 6 types of starships, including support ships and combat ships, but all of them failed. Some had major performance flaws. Others had poor cost performance. The worst one sold fewer than 10 units and was taken off the market after complaints about its performance, with a large compensation paid. Even the best-selling model sold less than 100 units, still losing money. They wanted to build a reputation, but it didn't succeed. Zhao Chen quickly browsed and studied, looking for the most suitable starship model for Li Wei's family, then compared it with the T1 Starship in the system mall. This one is a bit difficult to build. This one isn't good. The market is too small. Finally, after careful selection, Zhao Chen chose a T1 Starship technology. This is it. Zhao Chen clicked to exchange. Would you like to spend 50 system points and 1 mission point to exchange for the T1 Wolf-Lice class medium interstellar destroyer technology? Congratulations. You have obtained the blueprints for the T1 Wolf-Lice class medium interstellar destroyer. Remaining system points. 350. Zhao Chen's mind suddenly jolted, and a series of starship blueprints flooded into his consciousness. This is the T1 Wolf-Lice class medium interstellar destroyer. Don't underestimate this T1 starship. It was carefully selected by Zhao Chun. If he didn't already have the number 0 Blizzard and the T3 Blizzard class light interstellar battleship blueprints, he might even consider building this starship himself. Its advantage is that it is affordable and durable. At this moment, the gentle female voice of the starship's artificial intelligence sounded. Beep, beep, beep. Captain, someone is trying to connect with you through the external network. The system recognizes the caller as your classmate, Li Wei. Speak of the devil. Zhao Chen's lips curled into a sly smile. Little Li, don't blame me for being straightforward. Brothers should settle accounts honestly. If this starship is sold to your Li family, it could make your family famous in the starship weapons trade, especially among the T1 series. Let him wait outside. I'll be out soon, Zhao Chun ordered the AI. He also got off the bed, ready to leave the ship. Before that, he instructed Vice Captain Charlotte to stay on board and not to let any crew leave the Storm Zero without his command, nor allow anyone to enter. In case of an emergency, contact him immediately. Outside the starship dock, Li Wei was excitedly examining the huge steel ship in front of him. The Storm Zero is nearly 260 meters long. Because it uses the hull of a starship battleship, it's quite large. Looking at the rusty armor and the old-fashioned design, Li Wei still felt like he was looking at a mighty starship. Unfortunately, the 1,200 mm caliber cannon was hidden, so he couldn't see it now. At this moment, the starship's hatch opened, and Zhao Chen strolled out casually. Li Wei quickly stepped forward and hugged Zhao Chen's neck. When did you manage to build such a starship? You know already, it's just the 3 starships we assembled from the Academy exchange program, Zhao Chen replied. I mean, when did you get the skills for this? Li Wei asked further. Zhao Chen shrugged and smiled. While someone was dating, playing games, or relaxing, I was reading books. You were reading about starship engineering. Li Wei looked at Zhao Chen suspiciously. Zhao Chen used to be a very diligent student, especially in theory, always ranking in the top 5 in their class. So Li Wei didn't doubt Zhao Chen's excuse, but he was surprised that Zhao Chen had learned this much on his own. Big brother, let me go up and take a quick look. You should check out that 1,200 mm caliber cannon. Li Wei asked eagerly. It's not impossible, but I need you to do me a favor first. Zhao Chen looked at Li Wei, feeling like he was talking to a wealthy boss. Are you talking about that action-packed movie with 720 different races, weighing a total of 10,000 tons? Li Wei grinned and leaned in close, whispering mischievously, I'll give it all to you. I've also collected a few really great movies recently. We can watch and discuss them together later. Zhao Chun immediately jumped back 3 meters, looking at Li Wei with a look of disdain. Do I seem like that kind of person? Li Wei was walking down the corridor of the starship, looking at the narrow, old-fashioned space. He felt a bit disappointed. Isn't it? Quite disappointing, Zhao Chun said clearly. After all, this was assembled from 3 starships that are nearly 100 years old. It's not as comfortable or beautiful as the current starships. After about 10 minutes of wandering, Li Wei and Zhao Chun left the Zero Storm. It's more comfortable to watch outside. But old Zhao, why are all your crew members women from beast races? I didn't know you liked that. Although this preference wasn't a big deal, starship battles were serious business, Li Wei said, reminding Zhao Chun. Zhao Chun rolled his eyes. I'm not as perverted as you think. I recruited these beast women for a reason. They used to be female crew members, but for some reasons, they ended up like this. You saw the fight on the Zero Storm, right? Do you think a bunch of pretty faces could put up such a great fight? That makes sense. By the way, you mentioned you needed my help earlier. What's the matter? Li Wei asked, recalling Zhao Chen's request. Zhao Chen got to the point. Your Li family is involved in interstellar trade, right? I heard that in recent years, you've expanded into starship military equipment trade. I happen to have developed a T1 starship myself. I want you to send the technical blueprints to your family and see if they're interested in buying. But it has to be secret. I don't want too many people to know about me. You understand, right? Even if your father asks, don't reveal my identity. You want to sell your own developed T1 starship? Li Wei was surprised and said, you can develop starships on your own now. But then he thought, Zhao Chun could assemble 3 old starships into a powerful combat starship. So developing a T1 starship might not be impossible. After all, the technology for T1 starships isn't very difficult. Some of the starship blueprints have even been made public for everyone to learn from. We can't get involved in our family business. I can't guarantee that I can buy your starship, but I can mention it to my sister. She was the one who suggested expanding the starship weapons trade, and now she is in charge of that part of our group's business. However, our company isn't optimistic about this business now. We've been losing money for 4 years in a row. Even the T1 starship we plan to launch this year hasn't been finalized yet. The shareholders are already pressuring us to give up this business, Li Wei said. Zhao Chun patted Li Wei's shoulder and handed him a small storage device about the size of a thumb. Whether we can cooperate or not doesn't matter. As long as this thing can be seen by your Li family, just encrypt and send this data to your sister. Remember, keep my identity secret. If she asks, just make up a reason. Is this the blueprints for the T1 starship you mentioned? You're so trusting to give it to me. Is the network transfer secure? Should I deliver it to my sister in person? It's just a few days before the holiday, and I plan to go home. I'll tell you the results next semester, Li Wei said cautiously. Although it's just the blueprints for the T1 starship, it is Zhao Chen's hard work. This is a business secret, usually delivered face-to-face, rarely sent over the network. No worries, I've encrypted the files inside. When you send it, just let me know. I'll decrypt it remotely before you view it. You can send it now. I'm in a hurry, Zhao Chen replied. Zhao Chen couldn't wait until the semester ended. His plan was to use the T1 starship technology to get some funds, and then find a way to build a real system starship. The Zero Storm was excellent, but it was still just an assembled starship. All right, then follow your plan. But don't have too high expectations, he added. Li Wei first explained to Zhao Chun, worried that Zhao Chen's technical drawings might be rejected by his older sister, which could hurt Zhao Chen's pride. His sister's personality is very strict when it comes to business. If she doesn't like something, she definitely won't accept it. It's okay, just follow the instructions. You don't need to worry about the rest, Zhao Chun said with a smile. As long as Li Wei's sister isn't foolish, she will surely see the value of this starship model. Li Wei said goodbye to Zhao Chun and returned to his dorm. He sent the data stored in the device to his sister, as Zhao Chun requested. The file was quite large, and since it was transmitted across star systems, it took about a day. Li Wei sent a quick message to his sister beforehand, mentioning this matter. Zhao Chen also returned to his dorm. Although he now had a captain's room on the Zero Storm, many things were still in his original dorm. He needed to move those items to the Zero Storm. The semester was about to end, so he wouldn't need to buy a ticket. He could just take the Zero Storm back to the territory. His dorm was a single room, much smaller than the captain's suite. Zhao Chen sat on his bed, opened the system page, and went to the shop upgrade section. T1 system shop upgrade conditions. First, exchange for a T1 item, completed. Second, complete a D-level system task, completed. Third, spend 100 system points to upgrade the shop. The first two are done, ready for upgrade. Without hesitation, Zhao Chen clicked to upgrade the system shop. Confirm spending 100 system points to upgrade from T1 to T2 shop. Spend 100 system points to upgrade the T1 shop to T2 shop. Remaining system points, 250. Congratulations! You have unlocked T2 series items in the system shop. You now have one chance to exchange for any item without using task points. An unexpected surprise. Zhao Chen was originally thinking about how to earn more task points to easily exchange for T2 starships. According to the system shop rules, exchanging for items requires corresponding task points. Now, Zhao Chen checked the T2 series products, and they still needed 3 task points. Based on his situation, he wasn't sure how long it would take to earn those 3 task points. It seems that higher-level ships require more system points and mission points to upgrade. Zhao Chen took a quick look. To upgrade from T2 to T3 shop, he needs to complete 2 sea-level missions, exchange for 2 T2 system products, and spend 2,000 system points. The difficulty is much higher. Right now, Zhao Chen can't afford to think about everything. His main task is clear. Of course, the main task is to choose a starship. Let me see which one will be our first real starship. Zhao Chen began to carefully select, taking this decision more seriously than before. Because this time, he's choosing his very first true starship. Number 0's Blizzard can only be considered a semi-first starship. Should he choose an interstellar destroyer, or an interstellar cruiser, or perhaps an interstellar battleship? Zhao Chen looked around carefully. Finally, he focused on one option. A T2 carrier starship. T2 Queen-class heavy carrier starship. Zhao Chen's eyes lit up. In his previous life, carriers were definitely a dream for every space enthusiast. In the interstellar age, carriers also exist. If we say that in this era, the largest ships that can be called giant ships are probably 2 types: interstellar battleships and carrier starships. At this moment, Zhao Chen chose to exchange for the carrier. Spend 250 system points and 1 free product exchange opportunity to get the T2 Queen-class heavy carrier starship. Congratulations on obtaining the T2 Queen-class heavy carrier starship. Blueprint remaining system points, 0. Coincidentally, Zhao Chen's system points were enough to exchange for this T2 carrier starship. At this moment, his mind filled with data about the T2 Queen. Normally, in an interstellar fleet, if there is a carrier starship, it would need many ships, unlike interstellar battleships, which can operate independently. So, in reality, the number of active carrier starships is much fewer than battleships, because building a fleet centered around a carrier starship costs a lot. Otherwise, a single carrier starship alone wouldn't be enough to form a strong combat force. But this T2 Queen is completely different. It has the ability to fight alone, which is why Zhao Chen wanted to exchange for it. The battleship starship mainly fights in 3 ways, with interstellar fighters, interstellar drones, and small to medium-sized starships. Situations involving third parties are rare. Only starships capable of carrying starships are at least level T3. Otherwise, their size wouldn't allow it. Getting back to the main point, let's talk about the T2 Queen Bee. This starship uses interstellar drones as its main fighting method. Zhao Chen checked the detailed information. Queen Bee class heavy carrier starship ship type. Carrier starship technology level. T2 hull armor strength. 300 to 350 units cruising speed. 40 star speed warp drive. Level 4 warp engine captain length. 460 meters mass. 400,000 tons crew. 100 people starship weapons. T2 larva level light interstellar drones. Interstellar interceptors. T2 killer bee level medium interstellar drones. Interstellar fighters. T2 Hornet level heavy interstellar drones. Interstellar bombers. Hangar standard. Configuration can hold 300 T2 larva-level light interstellar drones, 100 T2 Killer B-level medium interstellar drones, and 20 T2 Hornet-level heavy interstellar drones. Just by looking at its size and weight, you can tell this will be a huge ship. The captain is 460 meters long, nearly twice the size of the number 0 Blizzard. Its weight is 400,000 tons, almost 5 times that of the number 0 Blizzard. It can carry a total of 420 interstellar drones across 3 types. Usually, a carrier starship only carries one type of interstellar fighter or drone because different models require different maintenance teams and systems. But this T2 Queen Bee is equipped with 3 types of interstellar drones. This isn't a foolish choice. Instead, it's because the T2 Queen Bee has an almost T3 Starship-level intelligence system, and with efficient management, all 3 types of drones can operate seamlessly without gaps. These 3 types of interstellar drones are, in essence, interstellar interceptors, interstellar fighters, and interstellar bombers. The interstellar interceptors act as close protection for the carrier starship, mainly responsible for safeguarding the ship and intercepting all enemy attacks. Interstellar unmanned fighters are the main force in gaining control of space battles and can also attack enemy ships. Interstellar unmanned bombers, as the name suggests, have bombing capabilities. They can carry interstellar missiles, bombs, or even torpedoes as needed. Their ability to attack starships is the strongest. However, their own space combat ability is quite weak. These 3 types of unmanned drones can work together perfectly, complementing each other's functions. Usually, multiple carriers and starships work together, with the T2 Queen Bee taking on all 3 roles. The most important reason is that it doesn't need fleets. It actually has a star shield function. The star shield is an energy defense shield, standard on T3 starships. It can form an energy barrier in a certain area to block enemy attacks from that direction. This was a groundbreaking technology for T3 starships, greatly increasing their defense. That's why many people say that T3 starships are the real starships. The T2 Starship Queen Bee also has a star shield, greatly boosting its defense. Combined with T2 small star drones, it becomes both offensive and defensive. Facing a T3 starship fleet can be risky, but against T2 starships, it is extremely formidable. It's possible to fight one against many. Therefore, Zhao Chun chose this T2 Queen Bee. The cost is 1.3 million star coins. Zhao Chun calculated the cost to build this starship and gasped. His entire family's savings add up to less than 100,000 star coins. His star territory, due to poor resources and mismanagement, only earns about 1 million star coins a year from taxes and other income. That's why Zhang Haoran calls him a broke baron. He can't even afford a T2 medium star destroyer like the Hound class, which costs 4 million star coins. But if Zhao Chun sells this T2 Queen Bee, it could be worth at least 20 to 30 million star coins. Selling starships is a way to get rich, as the arms trade is always highly profitable. But for now, Zhao Chun doesn't have the ability or time to think about that. 1.3 million star coins. With the funds from selling my T1 Wolf Lice class medium interstellar destroyer, I should be able to build a T2 Queen Bee. Zhao Chun muttered. Now, I'm just waiting for news from Li Wei. North Goose Interstellar Trade Group headquarters, a board meeting, is currently in session here. Besides the Li family members, several other shareholders and directors are present. Our North Goose has been running a deficit in starship weapons trade for the past 5 years, relying on other industries to cover the losses. At one point, this even caused our overall profit last year to be negative. So I think we should give up the starship weapons trade. It's not easy to start. The research and development costs are high, and the risks are too great. It's better to continue focusing honestly on our interstellar trade and industrial sectors, said a director, pounding the table. Other directors agreed and called for stopping the starship weapons business. No. Our North Goose is at a bottleneck now. The original business sectors are facing increasing competition. If we don't find a breakthrough soon, North Goose will eventually decline. To make North Goose stronger, we must seize the starship weapons trade opportunity. A charming woman with a graceful figure stood up and said, but the other directors opposed her. Miss Yaki, this decision is not yours to make. Although North Goose was founded by your Li family, You and your father only hold 45% of the shares. The rest oppose this. This is the board's decision, said the director with the most shares besides the Lee family, sneering. Liyaki bit her lip lightly, but said nothing. The Starship weapons trade is her dream and her passion. Others see only 5 years of investment. But in fact, Liyaki started planning 10 years ago. She dedicated all her time and energy to it. She is in her 30s and still unmarried. How could she give up her hard work? Cough, cough, cough. The middle-aged man sitting at the head looked around at everyone present. Everyone here is Yaki's uncles and elders. Yaki expanding into the Starship weapons trade is also for the benefit of North Goose. This is like expanding new territory. Starting is always the hardest part. When my father built up Beiyin, he also struggled through the first 10 years before the current Beiyin Interstellar Trade Group was established. This middle-aged man is the chairman of Beiyin Interstellar Trade Group, the current head of the Lee family, and father of Li Wei. Chairman, that was then, and this is now. Now everyone has families to support. We trust you, the head of the Lee family, which is why we risked everything on Beiyin. But we're actually losing money. Investing in Starship weapons trade is like pouring money into a bottomless pit. If we keep going like this, Beiyin will be ruined sooner or later, said the second director with a cold snort. Sticking to old ways, not trying to improve, not daring to step out of our comfort zone. That's why Beiyin is falling apart. Liyaki couldn't help but stand up and angrily scold. Hearing Liyaki speak like that, the other directors started murmuring, criticizing her for being naive and disrespectful to elders. I already said before, girls aren't suited for business. You're over 40, Yaki. If you had listened to me and married that count's son, you wouldn't be working so hard here. You'd already be a countess enjoying life, said the second director with a light laugh. Enjoying life? Second uncle, I don't want to be like my cousin, a caged bird in someone else's hands. Even when her husband is out chasing other women, she dares not say a word. If that's what you call enjoying life, then I, Liyaki, am not blessed enough to experience it, Liyaki replied boldly. The second director's face darkened. He is Liyaki's second uncle, her father's younger brother, and the second largest shareholder of Beiyin Interstellar Trade Group. All right, let's give Yaki some more time. We agreed on 5 years before, right? As long as within 5 years, Yaki's Starship Weapons Department can turn a profit, it will continue to exist. There's only half a year left now. Why is everyone so anxious? Said the cheerful head of the Lee family. Then I'll give my niece half a year. After that, my second uncle will arrange a good marriage for her, said the second director coldly, then left the meeting room. The other directors also left one after another. Master Lee looked at his daughter, who appeared unwilling and angry. He sighed deeply and said, Yaki, it's not that I won't help you. Doing business is like this. People only care about profit. You only have half a year left. If within this time your arms trade department can break even or make a profit, I will keep it running. But if it fails, then forget it. If you still want to do business, you can continue with the old interstellar shipping trade. Half a year. How can you turn a profit in just 6 months? I don't even have a decent spaceship product now, and I don't believe I can make a profit in that time. I understand. Dad, I'm a bit tired. I'll go back first, Yaki whispered and left the meeting room. She threw herself onto her bed in her room, where a fluffy pet, looking like a cat, jumped in front of her. Ming Ming, I'm very tired today. You can go play nearby, Yaki said, covering her eyes with her arm, trying not to let tears fall. 5 years of preparation, 5 years of effort, over 10 years of youth. Does it all have to end now? At that moment, her handheld terminal rang. She glanced at it. Her younger brother was sending a message request. She sat up, adjusted her mood, and accepted the call. Big sister, why are your eyes so red? Li Wei greeted her through the video. Because of the interstellar communication delay, there was about a 10-second lag. It's nothing, just been too tired these days. Why are you calling me all of a sudden? Are you out of living expenses? I remember, in a few days, there will be a holiday, right? Or is it because you didn't pass your grade assessment and might have to repeat? Yaki looked at Li Wei. Li Wei pouted. Sis, why don't you think I want you to do well? I still have my living expenses, and I didn't repeat. Next year, I'll be in the 4th year and can finally pilot a spaceship. So why are you reaching out to me now? Yaki looked at her mischievous little brother with suspicion. Li Wei then said seriously, I sent you a spaceship blueprint yesterday. It should have arrived by now. Take a look. This was created by my friend. I want to ask if you are interested in buying it. Starship blueprint data? Liyaki looked at her brother again. You wouldn't be in debt and trying to trick me here, would you? Sis, why do you always look down on your brother? Anyway, go take a look yourself. If you're interested, contact me. I'll help you get in touch with that. Friend, don't ask for too much. If it can be used roughly, just offer a fair price. Consider it a favor to your little brother. Li Wei still didn't believe that Zhao Chen's starship could be anything special, so he said some nice words. I'm not saying more now. Remember to contact me after you see it. Li Wei didn't want to talk more with his sister, who always looked down on him, and he ended the call directly. This kid, where does he have friends who can design starships? Sounds like he's just fooling me, Liyaki thought, not trusting Li Wei at all. But she sat on her bed for 10 seconds, then, almost automatically, opened her email. Sure enough, there was a data file inside, already decrypted. Anyway, she had nothing else to do. Her starship design department had no leads at all. She decided to look at what Li Wei sent. Liyaki comforted herself and opened the file. As she looked at the huge starship blueprint, her eyes gradually changed. From initial indifference to deep focus, even her breathing slowed down. After more than half an hour, she suddenly snapped out of it, raised her hand, and summoned a holographic computer. She started simulating some data from the file. No problem. No problem. Everything was fine. This process took another 3 hours. Liyaki's expression was very expressive. She muttered, T1 Wolf Laos class medium interstellar destroyer. This technical drawing. She suddenly stood up, quickly copied the starship design onto a data disk, then ran out of her room toward her starship design research department. What normally would take an hour, she drove her flying car and arrived in just 10 minutes. She didn't bother changing into her research uniform and rushed into the department. Standing in front of her team of researchers and engineers, she pointed at the data disk. Quickly help me check if this starship blueprint is technically feasible. Liyaki couldn't hide her excitement. Within 5 hours, I need a reliable feasibility report. No. I need it within 3 hours. In 3 hours, the researchers in the lab went from confusion to shock and then to excitement. Manager Lee, where did you get this starship technology? Although it only has about 80% of the data, and some important starship tech details are missing, this technology is definitely feasible. And this T1 Wolf Laos class medium starship is very cost-effective. I never thought a starship built so cheaply could have such high performance. If it were on the market, it would definitely sell very well. The chief engineer, an old man with white hair, excitedly stood in front of Liyaki. Liyaki held the data disk, which she now saw as a treasure. If she had already fallen into despair before, this data disk was like a rope dropping from heaven. Cancel all your current research projects and focus on studying this starship technology deeply. Liyaki handed the data disk to the chief engineer. Manager Lee, where did this starship technology come from? Before the engineer could finish asking, Liyaki had already left the lab. She sat in her flying car and immediately tried to contact her brother. First attempt. It was disconnected. Liyaki felt puzzled. Second attempt. It was disconnected again. She felt uneasy. Third attempt. Still disconnected. But this time, Li Wei replied with a short message. Sis, I'm taking a shower. Can we talk after I finish? Liyaki's face darkened as she gritted her teeth and replied. If you don't want to die, answer me immediately. If you dare hang up again, the day you come home will be your unlucky day next year. Liyaki sent a fourth call request. This time, it wasn't immediately disconnected. After waiting about half a minute, the call was finally answered. Li Wei appeared wrapped in a towel, looking like he had just finished showering in a hurry. Big sister, what are you doing? Why are you in such a rush? Li Wei looked disappointed, as if he had been interrupted while doing something important. Who gave you the starship design drawings? Liyaki asked directly. That, Li Wei hesitated, remembering Zhao Chen's instructions. He cleared his throat and said, Big sister, my friend is quite low-key, so I can't say who they are. Just tell me how good the starship design is. Do you want it or not? If not, I'll give my friend an answer. Even you can't tell your sister? Liyaki looked at her younger brother and said enticingly, Just tell me who that person is, and I'll triple your living expenses next semester. Li Wei hesitated, feeling conflicted inside. but finally said firmly, "No, I promised them." And, big sister, think about it. If they find out I revealed their identity, what if they get angry and refuse to talk to you? Thinking about this, Liyaki agreed that it made sense and had to suppress her curiosity. She guessed it might be a piece of work from a starship engineering professor at the Northern Star Starship Military Academy. "Can you help me contact that person? I'm very interested in their starship technology. Can we arrange a time to meet and talk?" Liyaki asked. "Huh, you're interested?" Li Wei was surprised. "Didn't you see what's inside?" Liyaki pressed. "I haven't. You're not the same as me. I'm not in the starship engineering department, so I wouldn't understand even if I looked." Li Wei waved his hand. His older sister, Liyaki, graduated from the starship engineering department, so she was very interested in starship research and manufacturing. Plus, she came from a family involved in starship trade. Together, she wanted to get into the starship military equipment business. "Go ahead. And if you get any news." "Never mind, don't hang up. I'll wait here for your message," Liyaki urged. Without the authorization to use that starship technology, she felt uneasy every moment. It was her only hope now. Under Liyaki's urging, Li Wei contacted Zhao Chun. A few minutes later, Li Wei appeared again on the video call window. "Big sister, my friend said that meeting in person is not necessary. If you're interested, you can join this online chat room to talk." After saying that, Li Wei sent a link to Liyaki. Talking in the online chat room? Liyaki was a bit surprised. Such an important matter was being discussed in this kind of environment. "Never mind. The urgent thing is to get the technology for this starship." "I understand." Liyaki clicked on the room link. Soon, a new window appeared in front of her. It wasn't a video call, but a text chat. Liyaki took a deep breath and sent the first message. "Hello, I am Li Wei's sister. I am in charge of the Starship Weapons Trade Department at Bayan Interstellar Trade Group." Liyaki. Half a minute passed after she sent the message. Finally, there was a reply. Just 2 simple words, but they made Liyaki feel like something was stuck in her throat. It was the first time she was negotiating business in this kind of environment. "I'm very interested in your T1 Wolf Lice class medium starship technology. I hope we can set a time to discuss the cooperation plan in detail." "No need to set a time. If you're sure you want this starship technology, just give me a price. If I find it acceptable, you transfer the money, and I will send you the complete T1 Wolf Lice technical data." Liyaki was again surprised. So straightforward? At this moment, she wasn't sure how much to offer because this approach was completely unexpected and unprepared. It was very different from her usual business style. The other side was not playing by the usual rules. She thought for a moment and sent a message. "What do you think is a fair price?" The other side was silent for a few minutes before sending a number. 3 million star coins. 3 million star coins? That license fee seemed a bit too high. After all, this was just a T1 starship, which usually sells for 2 or 3,000 star coins at most. Then, the other side sent 2 words. Seeing these words, Liyaki's heart suddenly jumped. "Are you sure about buying out this starship technology for 3 million star coins?" She immediately asked in a message. Buying out means that once she pays this amount, the starship technology would belong to her forever. Previously, she only wanted a license. "Yes. Do you agree with this price?" The reply came. Liyaki saw these words and immediately sent 2 words. Across from the communication window, Zhao Chen stared in shock at these 2 words. He clutched his chest and said sadly, "The price was too low." Just now, Zhao Chen had actually wanted to say that there was room to negotiate the price. He thought his offer was a bit high, but unexpectedly, Liyaki agreed immediately. In the end, this deal was settled when Liyaki paid 3 million star coins to buy the T1 Wolf Lice class medium starship technology. After finalizing the agreement, Zhao Chun directly sent all the starship technical data of the T1 Wolf Lice to Liyaki. "I've sent the starship technical data to your email. You have 3 days to transfer 3 million star coins to this account." Below was a Star Empire Interstellar bank account number. "Sir, you're just giving me the starship technology? Aren't you worried I might back out?" Liyaki was surprised that the other person was so straightforward, doing this without hesitation. Was he worried she might not pay? This didn't seem like a typical interstellar trade. It felt more like buying something casually at a supermarket. "I trust Li Wei, and if you dare to do that, I will make you pay 1,000 times more." "All right, I have other things to do. That's all for now." The online chat showed that the other person had left. Yaqi hurriedly wanted to ask how to contact him again, but there was no response. Such a strange person. This is probably the weirdest deal I've ever made, Yaqi thought. She still felt like she was dreaming. She also realized she didn't even know his name. Strange person. Strange deal. But no matter what, as long as she could get all the T1 Wolf Lice technology data, she was confident she could turn her Starship weapons trade around within 6 months. She would make those waiting to see her fail be shocked. Meanwhile, Zhao Qin felt a bit regretful. I should have asked for 4 million. Zhao Qin sighed with a bitter smile. He was still too inexperienced in business. Honestly, his 3 million star coins for the T1 Starship technology was already quite high. It just happened that Yaqi needed Starship technology urgently. A thirsty person naturally values water more than its high price. Zhao Qin is now planning to build his second Starship, the T2 Queen B-class heavy carrier. Building a Starship requires many things. It's not as simple as just assembling a ship. Raw materials, construction site, building technology, and much more. So many details to consider. Zhao Qin's handheld device rang. He looked and saw it was his younger sister, Zhao Waner. Wow, the young lady is finally reaching out to me, Zhao Qin said playfully, looking at Zhao Waner on the video screen. Zhao Waner rarely contacts Zhao Qin, usually only in private face-to-face. At this moment, Zhao Qin noticed behind Zhao Waner were 2 beautiful women. No, actually, 2 lovely ladies of different sizes. Stop teasing me. My friends are here. Zhao Waner rolled her eyes at him. Then she moved aside and introduced the 2 women. This is senior sister Su Lan from 5th grade. This is my classmate, Xiao Xiao from 4th grade. As for this one, I don't need to introduce her. She's my brother. When she said my brother, Zhao Waner looked a bit annoyed. Hello, we often hear Waner mention you. Senior sister Su Lan greeted politely. She mentions me? Well, it's good if she doesn't say bad things about me. Zhao Qin shrugged. Brother Zhao Qin, can I see your big cannon? Xiao Xiao, a twin-tailed girl, suddenly leaned forward excitedly. Zhao Qin was surprised. Her request was quite bold. Zhao Waner quickly pulled Xiao Xiao back. Xiao Xiao, what are you saying? What's wrong? I just want to see Brother Zhao Qin's No. 0 Blizzard's 1,200mm heavy artillery up close, Xiao Xiao pouted. Senior sister Su Lan, you must have a reason for contacting me. Just tell me what it is. Zhao Qin changed the subject, feeling a bit overwhelmed by the little girl's words. Senior sister Su Lan said, let's get straight to the point. We're here because of the Starship duel yesterday. Zhao Qin squinted but said nothing, waiting for her to continue. Senior sister Su Lan continued. Zhang Haoran asked someone to find connections because they knew I was close to your sister, Zhao Waner. They approached me to help. I hope you can cancel the punishment of expulsion for Zhang Haoran. Actually, when senior sister Su Lan mentioned the Starship duel, I realized it was Zhang Haoran's matter. Zhang Haoran would never honestly withdraw from the North Star Starship Military Academy. This concerns his future. Is the expulsion punishment recorded in the Starship duel? Can it be cancelled? Zhao Qin asked curiously. Senior sister Su Lan replied, according to the Academy's rules, the bets made in Starship duels are recognized and enforced by the Academy. But if the winning side is willing to cancel the punishment, the losing side can be exempted from it. So, you need to agree. Zhao Qin said nothing. Senior sister Su Lan then said, a friend of mine asked me to handle this. I owed him a favor before. If you don't want to, just forget I said anything. But if you're willing to discuss, I can help arrange a time and place for you to talk. You can state your conditions. After all, you shouldn't let the punishment be cancelled for nothing. Can I talk privately with my sister? Zhao Qin asked. Senior sister Su Lan agreed, and she and Xue Xiaoxiao left. All right, senior sister Su Lan and Xue Xiaoxiao are gone. If you have anything to say, just say it, Zhao Waner said, crossing her arms. Do you want me to help this senior sister Su Lan? Zhao Qin asked. Zhao Waner was surprised. This is your matter. Why are you asking me? My little sister rarely asks me for favors. I guess this senior sister Su Lan has a good relationship with you, Zhao Qin said with a smile. Zhao Waner blushed and honestly said, I admit I like this senior sister Su Lan. Since I came to the North Star Starship Military Academy, she has taken good care of me. She is one of my only 2 friends here, the other being Xue Xiaoxiao. I also know about senior sister Su Lan's situation. The senior who asked her to do this is a 5th-year student named Han Tianwang. He helped her with something before, and since then, he has been bothering her. even wanting her to date him. Senior sister Su Lan doesn't like him, but because she owes him a favor, she has to endure his harassment. If this time I can return the favor to him, senior sister Su Lan won't have to endure his harassment anymore. Zhao Chen nodded and said, "All right. You have senior sister Su Lan handle this matter. Send me the time and place tonight. I agree to talk." "Really?" Zhao Wanner was surprised. "Because this is the first time my younger sister has asked me to do something," Zhao Chen said with a smile. Zhao Wanner rolled her eyes and said, Who asked you? If you want to help, help. If not, forget it." After saying that, she hung up. Zhao Chen thought about Zhang Haoran. Whether Zhang Haoran drops out or not doesn't matter much to him. He never cared about this passerby role or his relationship with Jiang Sasa. If it weren't for the system's task, he wouldn't have suggested a starship duel. Now, there's a good chance to help senior sister Zhao Wanner and maybe get some benefit. Such a good opportunity. How could Zhao Chun let it slip away? A faint smile appeared on his face. Tomorrow, there will be an interesting show. North Star Starship Military Academy. Ocean-style restaurant. Zhao Chun looked at the floating hologram of an aquatic creature from an unknown star system, swimming freely in front of him. The whole restaurant was quiet and peaceful. Only about 50 people were dining here. It's one of the more upscale restaurants in North Star. Only nobles and high-status people come here. It's said that half of the ingredients are naturally grown foods. 3 beautiful young women walked beside Zhao Chun, drawing a lot of attention. "Junior brother Zhao Chun, have you decided what conditions you'll set for Zhang Haoran later?" Senior sister Su Lan asked. "I have an idea," Zhao Chen replied with a smile. Seeing this, senior sister Su Lan didn't say much. She was just a middleman in this matter. Whether it succeeds or fails didn't matter much to her. She was just helping because she owed a favor and had to play the matchmaker. "Lan Lan, over here." A voice called out. From a distance, Zhao Chen saw a young man with a fair face sitting at a round table by the window, waving to Su Lan and her group. 3 people were already sitting around the table, including Zhang Haoran and a stranger. Zhang Haoran's face looked quite bad. He briefly made eye contact with Zhao Chun but quickly looked away, appearing pitiful. However, Zhao Chun was sharp enough to notice Zhang Haoran's hatred. For someone like him, one lesson wouldn't make him behave. "Later, if you have any ideas, just say them. If we can't agree, we'll leave. Don't worry about us," Sister Su Lan whispered to Zhao Chun. Zhao Wanner was nearby, feeling a bit nervous. She looked at her older brother with concern. Although he was a land baron, he had never been in such formal situations. Shui Xiaoxiao looked excited. She loved these kinds of troublemaking events. When Zhao Chun and the others reached their seats, the senior named Han Tianwang ignored Zhao Chun, who was supposed to be the main person in this negotiation, and instead pulled away an empty seat next to him. "Lan Lan, come sit here." There were only 7 seats around the round table, exactly enough for Han Tianwang's 3 people and Zhao Chen's 4. Han Tianwang had deliberately left a seat next to himself, apparently for Su Lan. Su Lan glanced at it and just smiled, greeting Han Tianwang. "It's okay, I'll sit here." She then sat with Zhao Wanner and Shui Xiaoxiao. This made Han Tianwang feel a bit awkward. Now, the only seat Zhao Chun could take was next to Han Tianwang. Han Tianwang finally looked at the person in front of him and said calmly, "This is Zhao Chun, right? Please, have a seat." Although he said please sit, Han Tianwang was already seated. Only Zhao Chun hadn't sat down yet. But instead of going to Han Tianwang's side, Zhao Chun placed his hand on a chair in front of him and said, "No need, I'll sit here." At that moment, the atmosphere in the room started to feel strange, because Zhao Chen's hand was resting right on the chair where Zhang Haoran was sitting. Zhang Haoran's face darkened. He looked at senior Han Tianwang, who avoided his gaze. Seeing this, Zhang Haoran could only scowl and stand up, preparing to sit in the seat next to Han Tianwang. Zhao Chen sat on Zhang Haoran's chair. When he saw Zhang Haoran about to sit, he poured a glass of water onto the chair. The atmosphere once again approached freezing point. Zhang Haoran clenched his fists tightly. "Junior Zhao Chen, please don't be so aggressive. Actually, it was just a misunderstanding between Haoran and you before. Now that we're having a meal together, let's clear up this misunderstanding. From now on, everyone is friends." Han Tianwang stepped forward to play the peacemaker. "Lan Lan, don't you think so?" Su Lan smiled and said, "This time, we're just here as guests and won't speak. Everything depends on Junior Zhao Chen's decision. Today, He has a seat here, so I don't have a seat. Senior, what do you think? Zhao Qian looked directly at Han Tianwang without backing down. Han Tianwang's eyes flickered with a hint of gloom, but he still smiled happily and said, "That's true. An apology should look like an apology. Howren, just stand there. Waiter, please remove this extra chair," Zhao Qian called out to the waiter. The waiters here were not robots, but stylish young women, showing that this restaurant was high-end. The chair was taken away, and Zhang Howren stood like a pillar between Zhao Qian and Han Tianwang. "We're all sitting, and you're standing alone. Doesn't that make you seem superior to me and the seniors? That makes us uncomfortable," Zhao Qian said with a smile, looking at Zhang Howren. Zhang Howren gritted his teeth. "What do you want to do?" "Kneel," Zhao Qian casually said 3 words. Everyone's expressions changed at once. Zhang Howren was furious and embarrassed. "Zhao Qian, don't go too far. Too far. I heard that you and your little gang once caused trouble in my class, and if you defeated me in the Starship duel, you'd make me kneel and apologize? Didn't you think that was going too far?" Zhao Qian looked at Zhang Howren with a smile. Or does young Master Zhang look down on studying at Beijing? Zhao Qian's last remark hit Zhang Howren's heart hard. He absolutely couldn't drop out of Beijing. His father was a viscount, and he was destined to be a count. He wasn't the only son. Beijing was one of the top 3 Starship military academies in the Starshine Empire, and his father had gone through great effort to get in with connections. If he couldn't even graduate from Beijing, his noble title might be taken away by his brothers. After learning about the situation, his mother immediately sent a message telling him to figure it out himself. She insisted that he must not drop out of North Star School no matter what. "Junior Zhao Qian, there's no need to go that far. Horan already knows he was wrong. We're all classmates, so there's no need for things to get so tense. Please give me some face. Let's have dinner first. Talk about how to clear up this misunderstanding between you and Horan while we eat. I promise I will give you a satisfying answer," Han Tianwang said. "Face." Zhao Qian chuckled. He looked at Han Tianwang with a teasing expression. "Senior, do you mean I should give you face, and you'll kneel for him?" Zhao Wanner, standing nearby, gasped. She wondered what was going on with her brother today. Was he in a bad mood? It was one thing to argue with Zhang Howren, but to argue with Han Tianwang too? Senior sister Su Lan and the twin-tailed Xue Xiaoxiao looked at Zhao Qian in surprise. They felt that this junior seemed a little different today. Han Tianwang's face darkened at this moment. "Fine, I'll kneel." Zhang Howren shouted the 3 words and knelt down where his chair was. The height of the table just covered his head. "That's perfect. It won't interfere with our meal. Everyone, why are you all just watching me? We're here to eat, after all. Hurry up and order. I'm hungry." "Senior Han, you can order whatever you like. Don't hold back," Zhao Qian said, raising his hand and opening the holographic menu. He quickly tapped on it randomly. Zhao Wanner sitting next to him didn't even see what he ordered. "I've finished ordering. Take a look and see if you need anything else. No need to be polite. We finally get to have a meal with Senior Han, so let's enjoy it," Zhao Qian said with a smile. Xue Xiaoxiao almost couldn't hold back her laughter. Looking at the dishes served, even senior sister Su Lan was very surprised. All the dishes were made from natural ingredients. There was black egg fried with 6-legged pork costing 200 stars each, sweet and sour 3-legged duck for 300 stars, flaming fish soup from the Flame Galaxy for 500 stars, a fruit platter for 1,000 stars, and a 3-piece set of special products from the Auget Galaxy for 5,000 stars. But what caught everyone's attention was the bottle of wine brought to the table. Han Tianwang looked pained at the sight. This is a famous fruit wine worth up to 13,000 star coins, almost as much as the food on the table. Before he could look at it longer, Zhao Qian had already poured the wine for himself and the 3 beautiful women beside him. "Oh, it's finished. Senior Han, if you want a drink, you can order a few more bottles," Zhao Qian said with a smile, looking at Han Tianwang. "No, I don't need to. I don't drink alcohol," Han Tianwang replied with a twitching mouth. There was only this one bottle in the restaurant, and there was no chance to order more. "Hey, you're ordering so much. Are you sure that's okay?" Zhao Wanner whispered to Zhao Qian. "Don't worry, enjoy the food. These dishes are much better than those artificial foods. Once we're out of this place, there won't be another chance. So, let's eat up," Zhao Qian said, already devouring the food. Yes, he was using the word devouring to describe his eating. At first, Su Lan and the others hesitated about table manners. but seeing how quickly Zhao Chun was finishing the food, they couldn't care less. They sped up their eating, of course, eating much more neatly than Zhao Chun. This luxurious meal was so rich that even Su Lan and her friends had only tasted a few of the dishes before. It might cost hundreds of families' savings for one meal like this. An ordinary person's yearly salary is only about 40 star coins, enough to support a family of 3 on artificial food. Having eaten artificial food for over a month, Zhao Chun finally realized his taste buds still worked. Han Tianwang watched Zhao Chun eat like a beast. He wanted to speak several times, but had no chance. In the end, he gave up and joined in eating. If he didn't eat now, this big table of food might be gone. Such a rich meal was hard for Senior Han to get a chance to enjoy. The most pitiful was Zhang Haoran, who had been kneeling all along. Not only was he humiliated, but he also had to endure multiple sensory tortures, smell, taste, and sound. And his heart was bleeding because, officially, he was the one paying the bill. After an hour of eating everything in sight, Zhao Chun rubbed his now much expanded belly. If his clothes hadn't stretched to fit his body, the buttons might have burst. Next to them, Zhao Wanner and senior sister Su Lan also looked quite satisfied, as if they couldn't eat any more. At this moment, Han Tianwang quickly stopped Zhao Chun. Junior brother Zhao Chun, you've eaten your fill. The promise we made, it's time to settle it. Please ask the Academy to cancel the punishment for junior brother Haoran. Oh right, I almost forgot. We haven't discussed the main matter yet. Zhao Chun sat back down and smiled. Sorry, I'm just a small person who's never had such good food. Please don't laugh at me. Seeing Zhao Chun's cheeky expression, senior sister Su Lan couldn't help but laugh. Zhao Wanner was watching her older brother closely. She hadn't realized before that he could be so cunning. Tell me, what kind of conditions are you planning to set to let Zhang Haoran go? Zhao Chun asked seriously. Han Tianwang was surprised. He looked at Zhao Chun in shock. Conditions? You just ate. Senior brother Han, do you really think one meal can settle this matter? Zhao Chun pretended to be surprised. Han Tianwang's mouth twitched. He felt like hitting Zhao Chun, but he held back his anger and smiled. Then, junior brother Zhao Chun, just state your conditions. Fine, I like that. Zhao Chun raised his hand and held up 5 fingers. My starship has been through a tough battle. The costs, damage, personnel loss, repairs back at port, all cost money. Zhao Wanner rolled her eyes. Come on, that 5-minute battle probably used less than 1% of your starship's energy. And what damage? Zhang Haoran's T2 White Eagle never even hit your starship, let alone needing repairs back at port. Repairing air? That's nonsense. Everyone could see Zhao Chun was just trying to make a big fuss. 50,000 star coins. I think. Han Tianwang looked at Zhao Chun's 5 fingers. Zhao Chun immediately cut him off, smiling happily. It's not 50,000, it's 50,000 100-star coins. 50,000 100-star coins. This huge demand made senior sister Su Lan's eyes widen in shock. 50,000. Are you extorting us? Zhang Haoran couldn't help but jump up. Maybe because he had been kneeling for too long, he fell flat on the table, knocking over the leftover dishes, which splattered all over his face. Fortunately, the round table was fixed, or he would have looked even more embarrassing. Extorting? If you think that way, then it seems there's no need for us to talk anymore. I don't want the 500,000 star coins, and you can choose to leave the North Star. Zhao Chun spread his hands and stood up, ready to leave. Zhang Haoran felt angry and hopeless. He shouted, I can compensate you, but I really don't have 500,000 star coins. You do, Zhao Chun said. Zhang Haoran looked at Zhao Chun in surprise. Your T2 White Eagle-class light starship is quite damaged, but if you act quickly, 50 or 60,000 star coins should be enough, Zhao Chun said with a smile, looking at Zhang Haoran. This guy is like a demon. He had planned everything before coming. Everyone present was shocked by Zhao Chun's attitude. Yes, I have one more condition. I think I heard your friend say that if you win, you can be merciful and make me kneel and call you Grandpa. Maybe then I won't have to drop out. Zhao Chun's smile now looked like a devil in Zhang Haoran's eyes. My time is limited. You have 10 seconds. Zhao Chun tapped his fingers on the table. At this moment, everyone looked at Zhang Haoran, as if they were silently counting down. Finally, Zhang Haoran knelt on the ground. This kneel told everyone the answer. Grandpa Zhao Chun. I was wrong, Zhang Haoran said, his head on the ground. Don't stop until I leave the restaurant. And before the semester ends, I want to receive the 500,000 star coins. It shouldn't be hard for you to find my college account. When the money arrives, I will apply to the college to cancel the punishment against you, Zhao Chen said. Then he left the restaurant with Zhao Wanner and others. Before that, Zhang Haoran had obediently knelt on the ground, repeatedly shouting, "Grandpa Zhao Chun." I was wrong. Seeing the messy scene and Zhang Haoran looking like a beaten dog, Han Tianwang said in a deep voice, "This Zhao Chun is quite capable. But Haoran, remember, a gentleman takes revenge after 10 years. Staying at the North Star Starship Military Academy is the most important thing. I will make Zhao Chun pay 1,000 times over. I, Zhang Haoran, swear." Zhang Haoran knelt on the ground, his face twisted with anger. "Actually, I think it's better for you to give up. You are not a match for Zhao Chen." Another handsome man who had been silent spoke for the first time, seeming to be an observer at this party. But he didn't think his presence was wasted. He found this to be quite an interesting show. "Young master son, everything depends on effort. Also, I think Zhao Chun went too far and needs to be taught a lesson," Han Tian said with a cold look in his eyes. Zhao Chun had just embarrassed him earlier, even in front of Su Lan. Young master son smiled, but said nothing. Who will pay the bill?" At this moment, a restaurant manager approached, looking surprised as he saw Zhang Haoran kneeling on the ground. "How much is it?" Zhang Haoran stood up, his legs trembling a little. "It's 53,000 stars. We can waive the extra fee," the manager said with a professional smile. Zhang Haoran almost fell over, staring in shock. 53,000 stars. How is that possible? Our table only has 2,000 stars. This table's bill is only 2,000 stars, but the customer who left earlier took away 2 more meals, besides drinks. So, it totals 53,000 stars, the manager explained with a smile. Zhang Haoran's anger boiled over, and he spat out blood. He shouted, "Zhao Chun." Seeing Zhao Chun carrying 2 or 3 bags in each hand looked a bit funny. "Brother Wanner, you were really hilarious just now. This meal, was definitely worth it. Not only did we eat well, but we also saw a good show. You're still packing up. I just looked at the bill, 53,000 stars. I bet Zhang Haoran's face turned green when he paid. Shui Xiao Xiao, with twin ponytails, patted her small belly and said, "Don't call him Brother Wanner, just call him Zhao Chun." Zhao Wanner rolled her eyes and then looked at Zhao Chun. "You targeting Zhang Haoran like that, and even disrespecting Han Tian? Aren't you worried they might get back at you later? It's not like I'm negotiating with them kindly, so they won't retaliate," Zhao Chun said casually with a smile. Su Lan covered her mouth and chuckled. "Wanner, your brother is really something special. It's not like you previously said, that he only studies hard. If his way of thinking is considered foolish, then maybe there are no truly smart people in the world. I don't know how deeply he's hiding his talents," Zhao Wanner said with a shrug. Senior sister Su Lan looked at Zhao Chun and said, "Zhao Chun, I need to remind you. Today, you really offended Zhang Haoran and Han Tianwang. I don't know much about Zhang Haoran, but Han Tianwang is a sneaky person with a bad temper. You didn't show him respect today, and in the future, he might cause trouble for you in some matters." "Okay, I'll be careful," Zhao Chen nodded. "What plans do you have for this holiday?" Shui Xiao Xiao, with twin ponytails, asked curiously. "I'm going back to my territory with Wanner. Since I'm a baron in name, I have a lot of things to handle," Zhao Chun said helplessly. "Still a lot of things. Your sister has already arranged everything in the territory," Zhao Wanner rolled her eyes. "Speaking of their sister," Su Lan said, "I heard she's serving in the Imperial Army of the Star Glory Empire. She's performed very well and even became the captain of the princess's personal guard starship." Zhao Chen thought about his sister. He didn't know much about her because, since he could remember, his parents had been gone and his sister was already studying at the Starship Academy. After graduation, she joined the Imperial Army. He only saw her once a year, for less than a month each time, and their meetings were few. But Zhao Wanner was right. If it weren't for their sister arranging the territory, Zhao Chen wouldn't know what it would look like now. "Yeah, this year, you don't need to buy a ticket. You can take my starship back," Zhao Chen told Zhao Wanner. In previous years, Zhao Chun and Zhao Wanner would buy tickets to return to the territory. Traveling by starship costs dozens of times more than buying a ticket, Zhao Wanner whispered to Zhao Chun. Zhao Chun smiled and said, "Don't forget, your brother is now a rich man." Thinking of the 500,000 star coins, Zhao Wanner rolled her eyes. All right then. Honestly, returning on my own starship is at least 3 times faster than buying a ticket. Go back first. We'll leave the day after tomorrow. Let me know if you need to bring anything. I will go back first. There is so much food, and it will go bad if it cools down, Zhao Chun said as he bid farewell to senior sister Su Lan and the others, then quickly left. Your brother is a foodie. With so much food, how long can he eat it all by himself? Xue Xiao, with twin ponytails, whispered, swallowing hard. Because the food really smelled very good. Looking at her brother's back, Zhao Wanner felt that he had changed a lot. She felt like she didn't really know him anymore. Your brother is quite interesting, senior sister Su Lan commented. Zhao Wanner and Xue Xiao were both surprised. Men who are considered interesting enough to be praised by senior sister Su Lan are rarer than rare animals. Zhao Chun, panting heavily, hurried onto the spaceship's cabin. Charlotte, following Zhao Chen's instructions, had already been waiting here. Help me. Help me. Carry these. Zhao Chen handed several lunchboxes to Charlotte. He looked at his arms and wrists, which were red with marks, and some fingers had turned purple from lack of blood. Captain, what's inside these? Charlotte looked at the bags in her hands. Secret. You notify all crew members to gather in the dining hall. Zhao Chun smiled mysteriously. Charlotte didn't ask much. She followed Zhao Chen's orders and relayed the message. Then they headed toward the spaceship's dining hall. Do I need to help you carry these? Zhao Chen looked at Charlotte, who was holding so many things, yet remained steady and expressionless. Are they heavy? Charlotte asked calmly. Zhao Chun was stunned. Well, this must be the strength of the White Tiger tribe of half-beasts. Number 0 Blizzard Spaceship Dining Hall, according to Captain Zhao Chen's orders. All 100 female half-beast crew members gathered. Why are you all just standing there? Sit down quickly, Zhao Chen said, waving to signal them to sit. Reluctantly, the women sat down slowly. Charlotte, help me distribute these foods, Zhao Chen said, opening the several bags of lunchboxes that Vice Captain Charlotte had brought earlier. Suddenly, a delicious aroma spread throughout the dining hall. Remember, half-beasts have a much sharper sense of smell than humans, so they were even more attracted by these tempting scents. Charlotte stared at the fragrant lunchboxes for a few seconds, stunned. Don't just look, start eating quickly. Otherwise, it will all get cold and won't taste good, Zhao Chen urged. He personally took on the role of kitchen auntie, evenly dividing the food in these lunchboxes into 100 portions, then asked Charlotte to distribute the trays filled with food. Actually, if it's just those dishes, dividing into 100 portions means each person gets about a bite. But besides that, there was also a large bowl of white rice. Seeing the white rice, many of the female or crew members salivated. Are we really distributing all of this? Charlotte was confused about what Zhao Chen was planning. What's wrong? This is everyone's lunch today, Zhao Chen casually said. Could it be these delicious dishes that smell so good? Hearing Captain Zhao Chen's words, Charlotte and the 100 female crew members were stunned, looking at their familiar captain with disbelief. Hurry up and bring it up. Everyone is waiting, Zhao Chen said, noticing Charlotte still staring blankly. Only then did Charlotte start working, carrying the trays of food to the female crew members. In a short while, more than 30 portions had been handed out. Zhao Chen looked up and noticed that none of the women who had received food had started eating yet. Some were already salivating at the delicious smell, but none of them moved, sitting properly. Why are you all just staring? Eat. Those who have food, start eating. Those who haven't, wait a little longer. There's no need to rush. Everyone will get their share, Zhao Chen said. Seeing that no one was moving, Zhao Chun pretended to be angry and said, "This is an order." At that moment, the women who had received food finally started eating. At first, they were a bit hesitant, taking small bites. But soon, the taste overwhelmed them, and they couldn't hold back or stay calm. Their taste buds, long tortured by artificial food, felt like someone lost in a desert finally drinking water. One by one, they began to eat wildly, even grabbing food with their hands. In less than 3 minutes, a portion was finished, and everyone was still licking their plates and utensils, wanting more. Looking at the girl crew members with animal ears licking their plates, Zhao Chen found them quite cute, but also a little sad. Many of them were younger than him, and some were even minors. Of course, in the orc community, there is no clear distinction between minors and adults. As long as they can fight, they are considered adults. So, usually, orcs around 12 or 13 years old are sent into battle and work, regardless of gender. Only fighting and working can earn them their daily food. Soon, all 100 portions of food were handed out. The last portion was personally brought to Charlotte by Zhao Chun. Try it, it's really good. Especially this fruit. Charlotte looked at the rich food on her plate, including a small crescent-shaped apple and tiny fruits about the size of a finger. She looked at Zhao Chun. And you? I've already eaten. I'm quite full. Don't believe me? Just look at my belly. Zhao Chun shamelessly patted his round stomach. Charlotte chuckled softly and lowered her head to start eating. After a few bites, Zhao Chun noticed Charlotte's head was lowering even more, her face almost level with the plate. At first, he didn't understand why. But when he saw the glint in the corner of Charlotte's eye, peeking out from her white hair, he realized what she was hiding. Suddenly, Zhao Chun heard crying from the dining hall. Some female crew members were eating while crying, tears mixing with their food as they ate. Maybe they were crying because the food was so delicious, or maybe because it reminded them of past hardships, of their siblings and friends back home fighting, just to survive. For the first time, they understood that food was not just to fill their stomachs, but also a wonderful experience. Everyone, eat while I say something, Zhao Chun suddenly spoke, catching the attention of all the female crew members. Some of them paused their eating. It's okay, keep eating. Just listen to me. Zhao Chun signaled them to continue, but they still looked at him attentively. Unable to help, Zhao Chun looked at Charlotte, who was also staring at him and stopping her meal. Charlotte understood his meaning and took the lead to continue eating, but her movements slowed down noticeably. I want to talk about everyone's benefits and treatment, Zhao Chun said. We agreed that you would work for me for 3 years, and I would give you freedom, right? But there are some details we haven't clarified yet, like the crew's benefits. Zhao Chun looked at Charlotte and asked, in your previous fleet, how were the crew's meals handled? Charlotte was surprised for a moment, then replied, the standard was 0.01 star coins per meal. Zhao Chun's mouth twitched slightly. 0.01 star coins. That's basically the price of the simplest artificial food every day, just one meal. It means they initially had a one-meal-a-day system. I've calculated that we will eliminate artificial food. In the future, all our food will be natural. It won't be as rich as today, but we can still ensure everyone is full 3 times a day. We've set the meal standard at 0.3 star coins per person per day, with a monthly limit of 10 star coins. I will discuss the specific menu with the logistics team responsible for meals later, Zhao Chun announced calmly. Everyone present was stunned. After a long moment, a 15-year-old half-orc female crew member, with a tearful voice, whispered, so, I can eat rice every meal now. Rice every meal. Zhao Chun frowned slightly. Some female crew members' eyes started to look dull. Zhao Chun shook his head and said, having rice every day is a bit difficult because we can have porridge in the morning, bread, noodles at noon, and rice or other dishes in the evening. Hearing this, the previously dull-eyed female crew members suddenly seemed to be in heaven again. All right, continue eating. I'll go handle other matters, Zhao Chun said, noticing their suppressed joy, and politely left the dining room. As he left, he could hear laughter and joy behind him. Oh my God, we can actually eat rice every meal, every day? Captain, are you fooling us? How is that possible? Our Lord's fleet never received such treatment. I don't think the captain is lying to us. Look at the food he just gave us. It's the best I've ever eaten in my life. Does the captain really need to deceive us? We are his slaves. Even if he doesn't give us these things, we would still work honestly for him. Zhao Chun's lips curl into a slight smile. This is what he wanted. He didn't want a dull, lifeless fleet. He wanted an elite fleet full of morale and fighting spirit. Although, in this era, the technology of starships has, to some extent, surpassed the crew's morale on the ship. But, at the same level, a fleet with high morale is always stronger than others. And a fleet with high morale can create miracles. How to have such a fleet? It's simple. Give the crew what they want and fill them with hope for the future. In this way, anyone who tries to destroy their hope will be seen as an enemy. Suddenly, hurried footsteps are heard behind him. Captain, I think your decision is very thoughtless. Charlotte steps in front of Zhao Chun. What's wrong? I think it's pretty good. Everyone seems to like it. Zhao Chun shrugs. Charlotte speaks seriously. I appreciate your effort to improve the crew's meals, but do you realize what a daily cost of 0.3 star coins per person means? I can do the math. That's 10 star coins a month. We currently have 100 crew members, so the monthly expense is 1,000 star coins, Zhao Qin says calmly. Charlotte responds earnestly, 1,000 star coins. Do you know how many energy blocks, military supplies, missiles, and bullets that can buy? Zhao Qin smiles at Charlotte. Are you finished? Charlotte continues, you could improve their food allowances. I think 0, 1, or 0.05 star coins per day would be enough. We don't have to completely give up artificial food. Previously, they were a group of lifeless slaves. But do you know what I saw in them just now? I want a fleet full of hope, not a bunch of walking corpses. All right, there's no need to discuss the welfare, food, and standard issues. This is the captain's order. It will not be changed or lowered, and in the future, if needed, it will even be increased gradually. If a captain can't even feed his crew properly, then he's not a qualified captain. As he spoke, Zhao Qin suddenly reached out and brushed a grain of rice from Charlotte's mouth. Charlotte was surprised. She saw a grain of rice on Zhao Qin's finger, and then she watched him put it into his mouth. Wait a moment. Have the logistics team hold a meeting. Discuss how much daily supplies we need to buy and plan the menu for the starship's cafeteria. After saying this, Zhao Qin turned away, ignoring Charlotte's blushing face. Charlotte took a long time to recover. She covered her chest. The captain's actions just now really touched her heart. Especially his firm demand to set a luxurious meal standard made her feel a strange, hard-to-explain feeling inside. The menu is set like this. From now on, you will provide meals for the crew according to this menu. Since we will set sail in a few days, I will buy a batch of daily supplies and military provisions. Charlotte, you are responsible for making a detailed list for me. When the time comes, I will have someone deliver all the necessary supplies. You don't need to worry about the money. Just calculate based on the actual needs of the number 0 blizzard, Zhao Qin said, looking at the senior female crew members in the meeting. Okay, Charlotte replied. But since she entered this room, she hadn't made eye contact with Zhao Qin again. Logistics team, you can start preparing. I will order some raw materials for food, and they will be delivered within 3 hours. Our meal standards will start from tonight's dinner, Zhao Qin said. Yes. The female crew members of the logistics team responded enthusiastically and then left the meeting room. Zhao Qin looked at Charlotte. Before Zhao Qin could speak, Charlotte left quickly, saying, I'm going to check the supplies needed for daily life and military needs. Zhao Qin was surprised. He felt that his captain seemed a bit strange. Word spread quickly. News about changing the menu in the spaceship's dining hall spread to all crew members. At first, they thought it would take some time for the captain's new policies to be put into effect. But just after they discussed it at noon, the changes were made by evening. Soon, many female crew members who were not on duty rushed to the dining hall. The dining hall was completely different from before. Even the decorations had changed. Originally, meals were served on a fixed schedule, with only 1 or 2 options each mealtime, mostly artificial food, offered in set meals called Meal 1 and Meal 2, with fixed portions. But now, things were different. Besides the food displayed in the showcase, crew members could also place orders directly with the kitchen and choose what they wanted to eat, and the kitchen would prepare it on the spot. Of course, the food had to be from the menu, and the prices were a bit higher. The menus for breakfast, lunch, and dinner each expanded to over 10 different options. The meal allowance for each female crew member was also changed to 10 star coins per month. Each crew member could order freely as long as they stayed within this limit and avoided waste. There's meat too, one female crew member exclaimed, pointing at a dish of stir-fried vegetables with shredded meat, her eyes wide. However, that dish was quite expensive, costing about 3 days' worth of meals. But if they saved a little during the week, eating meat once every week was manageable. Can I order now? A female crew member asked shyly but eagerly. Of course. You can order anything from the highlighted options or the displayed foods in the showcase, the head chef replied personally. This half-orc chef had previously worked as a cook for a certain orc lord and was skilled in cooking. He also served as the logistics chef on the number 0 snowstorm. 1 rice bowl with toppings, please. I want a meat patty. Just give me a large bowl of rice and some vegetables. I want to eat beef noodles. This was originally the second vice captain's room, but since I only have one vice captain and I plan to take you back this time, it has been kept empty. You can stay here for now. Zhao Chun carried his sister's luggage and pointed to the single room of the vice captain. It's pretty nice, Zhao Wanner said as she looked around the room. How will you arrange your starship? Zhao Chun asked. Zhao Wanner is a fourth-year student and has her own starship. Senior sister Su Lan has a long-term rental berth at the starport. During the holidays, she will go back home, so my starship just stays in her berth. My crew members are also students from the academy, and they are already on break, Zhao Wanner said while sitting on the bed. If I remember correctly, your starship is a T2 Fire Raven-class heavy interstellar battleship, Zhao Chun recalled. Zhao Wanner nodded. When Zhao Wanner chose her starship in her fourth year, she faced the same situation as Zhao Chun, no funds, so she had to pick from the Academy's starship warehouse. Fortunately, because she was an excellent student, the Academy took special care of her and prepared this T2 Fire Raven-class heavy starship for her, even though it was a second-hand ship with 30 years of service. But it was definitely a top-quality T2 starship. Thanks to her reputation as an outstanding student, students from other departments kept joining her starship. However, considering salary and benefits, Zhao Wanner mainly recruited civilian students. The T2 Fire Raven-class heavy starship is good, but it's an old ship. When I get a chance, I'll have my brother get you a new one, Zhao Chun muttered. Zhao Wanner rolled her eyes. A new ship? Forget it. Don't think just because you got 50,000 star coins from Zhang Haoran that you're rich. 50,000 star coins isn't even enough to buy a T2 starship. Zhao Chun smiled silently. He didn't tell Zhao Wanner that he had made another deal by selling the starship technology of the T1 Wolf Laos-class medium interstellar destroyer. He had accumulated 300,000 star coins. But he wasn't planning to buy a starship himself. He had a system with a bunch of starship technologies. Why not just build one himself? No need to buy it anymore. Look, you should trust me. Just tell me what kind of ship you want, and I will arrange it for you before the end of this year, Zhao Chun said, waving his hand confidently. Zhao Wanner chuckled softly. If you really have the ability, then get me a starship aircraft carrier. Starship aircraft carriers are the most expensive among all ship types, by far, because they carry many interstellar fighters and drones, and together, that makes them very costly. Zhao Chun smiled, thinking, you're just asking for trouble. No problem, just a starship aircraft carrier. I will arrange it for you. I promise you'll be happy, Zhao Chun said with a smile. Just talking big, Zhao Wanner didn't believe him. A T2 starship carrier, even a light one, costs at least 10 million star coins. All right, once you're ready, let's go eat, Zhao Chun said as he reached the door. After waiting a little while for Zhao Wanner, they both headed to the starship restaurant. When they reached the corridor outside the restaurant, Zhao Wanner sniffed the air. I think I smell something nice. Zhao Chun smiled silently. By the way, I've noticed that your female crew members who are half-beasts seem a bit different from before, but I can't quite put my finger on it. Zhao Wanner looked at Zhao Chun suspiciously. Did you do something to those half-beast women? Zhao Chun tapped her on the head. You little girl, what are you thinking about here? Zhao Wanner stuck out her tongue and blinked at Zhao Chun. She realized that her relationship with Zhao Chun seemed to have changed a lot recently. In the past, Zhao Chun wouldn't even dare to touch her head, and he always looked a bit reserved around her, as if she was the older sister and he was the younger brother. As they joked and laughed, they entered the restaurant. At that moment, Zhao Wanner stopped in her tracks, her eyes wide with surprise at what she saw. Steaming noodles, fragrant bread, large white buns, and delicious-smelling meat chunks. There was even a white, half-moon-shaped food, legendary dumplings. Is this your starship restaurant? Zhao Wanner asked, stunned. Of course. You order here. Zhao Chun pointed at the chef behind the counter, then turned to Zhao Wanner. Whatever she orders will be on me. Captain, you don't need to order anymore, the cook said with a strange expression. According to the rules Zhao Chun set himself, there are standards for meals in the spaceship's dining hall. However, because he is the captain, his meal standard is 3 times higher than that of ordinary female crew members. Some female officers also have higher meal standards than regular crew members. This hierarchy is meant to motivate the female crew members. Those who perform well can be promoted and enjoy better meals. It's a kind of incentive policy. Follow the rules. Zhao Chun continued to order. Give me a serving of pork and cabbage dumplings. Most of the menu here was created by Zhao Chun. So many Chinese dishes are available. Dumplings are also well known in this world, believed to originate from an ancient recipe from a distant planet. But because fresh ingredients became expensive later, this dish gradually became a luxury item for the wealthy, almost like a legend among ordinary people. Hurry up with the order. There are others waiting behind, Zhao Chen urged, looking at Zhao Wan'er, who looked surprised. Zhao Wan'er quickly glanced at the menu and ordered a plate of fish-flavored shredded pork over rice. Then a floating robot scanned Zhao Chen's face. That counted as payment. Please take a seat and wait. A robot will deliver your food later, the cook said. Zhao Chun and Zhao Wan'er found an empty seat and sat down. What's going on? Are these ingredients natural? Zhao Wan'er asked as soon as she sat down, staring at Zhao Chun. Zhao Chun nodded. Yes. Zhao Wan'er pointed at the holographic menu on the screen. Can ordinary crew members order these foods? Everyone has their own meal standard. As long as they don't exceed it or waste, it's fine. What is the meal standard for regular crew members? 0.3 star coins per day, no more than 10 star coins per month. 10 star coins. Zhao Wan'er screamed, her voice attracting the attention of others eating nearby. She quickly lowered her head and whispered, Are you crazy? 10 star coins. The noble guard fleets of our Starshine Empire don't have such high meal standards. I only set my crew's meal standard at 0.05 star coins per day. They are not that tall, so I can't set the height that high. This is my starship, and I will decide how tall it is. Zhao Chun said with a smile. Zhao Wan'er covered her face. Don't think that having 50,000 star coins means you can do whatever you want. If you keep acting like this, you'll get into trouble sooner or later. Then Zhao Chun shrugged. Then we'll deal with the trouble when it comes. At this moment, Zhao Wan'er and Zhao Chen's meals were delivered. Delicious pork and cabbage dumplings and fish-flavored shredded pork over rice. In front of this tasty food, Zhao Wan'er gave up arguing with Zhao Chun. She ate happily, a smile on her face. After finishing the meal, just as Zhao Wan'er was about to continue educating Zhao Chun, her handheld terminal rang. It was a message notification. Zhao Wan'er opened it, and her face suddenly changed. Oh no, something's wrong in the Xianglong star system. The Xianglong star system is Zhao Chen's territory. What's happened? Zhao Chen asked. Zhao Wan'er projected a hologram showing the message. This is a trusted agent left by my sister in the Xianglong star system. Someone there is colluding with outsiders, trying to attack the Zhao family. Second young master and third miss, do not return. But if we cancel this plan because of the sudden news, then after 3 months, when the academy opens, it will be very hard for him to find time to deal with the Xiaolong star system again. This delay could last a year or more. Zhao Chun doesn't have that much time to waste. We need to go home, Zhao Chun said seriously. Zhao Wan'er was anxious and pacing. Hey, are you serious? You know the Xiaolong star system has people targeting us, and you're still going back to face danger? We're not going back to get hurt, Zhao Chun said with a smirk. The situation in the Xiaolong star system has always been chaotic. Because of our Zhao family's weakness, many nobles in the system don't take us seriously. To truly control the Xiaolong star system, we need to remove those hidden threats. I was planning to do it step by step, but since they are giving me a chance now, why should I waste it? Zhao Wan'er understood Zhao Chen's plan. He wanted to use this opportunity to eliminate the forces behind the assassination attempt. He aimed to shake up the entire star system. I don't oppose your idea, but you need to be realistic. We don't know how the enemy is planning. And we only have 2 T2 starships. If we go back, we'll be like sheep among wolves. Zhao Wan'er worried about their safety. We'll go back, but not right away. You should contact the person you mentioned and try to get more information from her. Find out who organized the assassination, what their plan is, and if they have a star fleet, Zhao Chun said seriously. Those aren't the main issues, but our strength. Zhao Chun smiled. Don't worry, I will be prepared. He raised his hand and opened a star map. He marked his current location in the Xiaolong star system, then started filtering options between the 2 points. Finally, he chose a place. Zhao Chun pointed to that spot. Let's go there first. Zhao Wan'er looked at the place name and was surprised. Why are we going there? You'll see when we get there. Do I need to bring my T2 Fire Raven? No need. Zhao Chun, what exactly do you want to do? After some preparations, the Zero Storm left the starport of the Northern Star Starship Military Academy. Before leaving, Zhao Chun received 2 payments into his accounts: 500,000 star coins from Zhang Haoren and 3 million star coins from Liyaki. The first was from the Academy account, and the second was a secret account Zhao Chun opened before selling Starship technology to hide his identity. He originally planned to leave on July 1st, but due to the situation in the Xiongling star system, Zhao Chun needed to leave 2 days early. He sent a farewell message to Li Wei and hurriedly said goodbye to Su Lan and others with Zhao Wanner. Our destination is the Arctic Fox starport in the Arctic Fox star system. We will first go to the Star Gate in the Northern Star System, then pass through the Star Gate to the Arctic Fox star system, and finally arrive at the Arctic Fox starport. It will take about 5 hours. Vice Captain Charlotte stood beside the captain's chair, reporting her planned route to Zhao Chun. Just do as you see fit. I just want to reach the Arctic Fox starport as quickly as possible, Zhao Chun said, sitting in the captain's chair. Next to him, Zhao Wanner was pouting, upset that Zhao Chun hadn't explained clearly what he was planning to do. Next, we will activate the Level 3 warp drive. During warp travel, all crew members will enter deep sea mode. Everyone will go into sleep pods, Vice Captain Charlotte explained. Zhao Chun nodded in agreement. Using the warp drive is necessary to reach the Arctic Fox starport quickly. A starship usually has 2 or 3 propulsion systems: a regular engine, like the one that allows Zero Storm to reach 100 knots of star speed, and the warp drive, which is used most often. The regular engine is used for normal travel, while the warp drive is used for long-distance, extreme acceleration. When using the warp drive, most starships must enter deep-sea mode. Otherwise, the side effects of warp travel could cause crew members without recovery chambers to die instantly. Humans cannot withstand warp travel physically. During warp travel, combat is not possible. Warp engines are also classified by speed levels. From low to high, they are levels 1 through 9. Zhao Chun's Zero Snowstorm ship is equipped with a Level 3 warp drive. The warp drive route is prepared. Next, we will enter the acceleration phase, and in 10 minutes, we will begin warp travel. All crew members enter deep-sea mode within 10 minutes. Repeat, all crew members enter deep-sea mode within 10 minutes. At this moment, the internal stations of the spaceship echoed with Vice Captain Charlotte's voice, and soft purple lights flickered. This is a warning before entering warp travel. Meanwhile, several sleep pods appeared next to Captain Zhao Chen's chair. These are vertical, transparent cylindrical chambers. The purpose of having sleep pods on the bridge is to allow crew members to quickly return to their stations and resume combat mode after leaving warp mode. This is very important in real battles, especially during enemy behind-the-lines combat. It tests the reaction speed of the spaceship's crew. Zhao Chen also stood inside a sleep pod, looking at Zhao Wanner entering her pod nearby. He said, "Don't be nervous, it will be over in a blink. Please, I've already completed 4 years of combat training at the Academy. I don't need you to tell me." Zhao Wanner rolled her eyes and activated her sleep pod herself. A transparent lid sealed the chamber, and a faint blue liquid was injected inside. In this sleep liquid, people can breathe freely and are also hypnotized. Zhao Wanner closed her eyes, lying peacefully like a sleeping beauty in water. Zhao Chen didn't immediately enter sleep mode. He watched Charlotte at the control station, still operating. Most of the power supply of Zero Snowstorm had been cut off, providing almost all energy to the warp drive, while the ship itself maintained a low power state. With 3 minutes remaining before the 10-minute mark, Charlotte turned to Zhao Chun and reported, "All ships, 102 crew members. 100 are already in deep-sea mode. 3 minutes until warp travel begins. It's our turn now." Zhao Chun crossed his arms over his chest, took a deep breath, and activated his sleep pod. The faint blue liquid covered his body. He felt no discomfort. In fact, he felt very relaxed. Finally, he drifted into deep sleep. Zero Storm. System prompt. Arrived at the scheduled location. Currently in autopilot mode. Zhao Chen vaguely felt as if there was a sound ringing in his ears. Zero Storm Snow Starship AI. Zero Storm Snow is in navigation mode. Arrived at the scheduled location. In autopilot mode. The voice grew louder, and suddenly his memory seemed to return to his body. AI system of Zero Storm Snow Starship reports. The starship has exited warp speed and reached the designated area, now in autopilot mode. Zhao Chen suddenly opened his eyes wide. He gasped for breath as he looked at the transparent hatch slowly opening. The lighting on the bridge had been restored, and familiar figures were beginning to resume work on the command bridge. All personnel on the bridge, return to your stations within 1 minute. Check all starship data. All crew members, return to your stations within 3 minutes and stand by. Vice Captain Charlotte kept issuing commands, while Zhao Wanner assisted beside her. Zhao Chun instinctively took 2 steps forward, but found his legs felt weak. If he hadn't been holding onto the handrail, he might have fallen. Captain, you are awake. Our starship has successfully reached the outer area of the star gate in the northern star system. All systems are normal, and navigation has resumed. Vice Captain Charlotte quickly reported the current situation upon seeing Zhao Chun. Did you all wake up earlier than me? Zhao Chun looked at them in surprise. Zhao Wanner looked at Zhao Chen's trembling legs and smiled softly. We woke up 1 minute before you. I told you your body isn't strong enough. You need more exercise. Don't think piloting a starship is just mental work. Navigating through the stars requires both intelligence and physical strength. Zhao Chun ignored Zhao Wanner's teasing. He asked Charlotte, how long have we been in hibernation? 32 minutes, replied Vice Captain Charlotte. 32 minutes. Zhao Chun felt as if a long time had passed. But don't think that in these 30 minutes, the starship didn't travel far. Without using the warp engine, traveling at the speed of the regular engines would take nearly 100 days. The development of warp engine technology has pushed civilization toward interstellar travel. This is a revolutionary technology similar to Stargate technology. Suddenly, Zhao Chun felt stomach discomfort and instinctively vomited forward. Vice Captain Charlotte seemed prepared, and a floating trash bin appeared in front of Zhao Chun. Ugh, ugh. Zhao Chun vomited for a while before he finally recovered. He realized that traveling at warp speed was so painful. This is probably your first time using a military sleep pod. Before, when traveling between the Xianglong star system and the Academy, you used a travel sleep pod, which has a recovery phase to help your body adjust. But military sleep pods are not so comfortable. When you reach the 4th grade, you'll have practice in this area. Most first-timers tend to, Zhao Wanner explained nearby, but her smile clearly showed she was proud of her better physical condition compared to Zhao Chun. Zhao Chun ignored Zhao Wanner. He staggered and sat down in his captain's chair, glancing around the bridge. He was the last to wake up. The other sleep pods had already sunk into the floor of the bridge, but Zhao Chen's sleep pod was just beginning to descend. Request Stargate passage to the Arctic Fox star system, Zhao Chen ordered. The application has been sent. You will receive a reply within 10 minutes, Vice Captain Charlotte replied. Before 10 minutes passed, within a few minutes, Zero Storm received permission to pass, but only after Zhao Chen paid a fee for using the Stargate. Zero Storm followed the navigation route sent by the North Star Stargate Management Department. Soon, Zhao Chen saw rows of starships waiting to pass through the Stargate, along with ships crossing into the North Star system. But none of this was important. Zhao Chen's eyes were drawn to the huge Stargate. Although he had learned about Stargates in school and seen pictures, and had it in his memory, this was his first time seeing one in person. The North Star Stargate looked like 3 connected temple gates, with blue, red, and gold halos shining from the middle of each, like 3 colored lake surfaces. Staring at this Stargate, Zhao Chen's mind was filled with information about it. The North Star Gate uses AT-3, Level 3 God Gate, a Stargate developed independently by the Starshine Empire. Over 70% of the Empire's Stargate network is made up of this model. Captain, we've arrived. Vice Captain Charlotte's voice pulled Zhao Chun back from the magnificent view of the Stargate in front of him. Yes, Zhao Chun took a deep breath and instinctively tightened his grip on the armrest beside his captain's chair. Using a Stargate for travel doesn't require entering deep-sea mode. The reasons are complex and only interstellar scientists can explain them. Most people only need to understand this simple fact. The whole process is very fast, really fast. Zhao Chun only felt a flash before his eyes. The scenery around him disappeared, and his pupils seemed to see a colorful, vibrant world. Then his vision gradually returned, and the dark, vast universe appeared again. This feeling is much better than traveling at warp speed. Thinking about it, it makes sense. After all, it costs money. An ordinary person's lifetime earnings in star coins aren't enough for a single T1 starship to make a short Stargate jump. Zhaochen glanced at the time. Only about 30 seconds had passed. That's the power of a Stargate. It greatly shortens the distance between star systems. But Stargates also have limits. Each hour, there's a maximum number of starships that can pass through, depending on the size of the ships. For example, if 1 hour allows 10,000 T1 starships, then only 1,000 T2 ships or 100 T3 ships can pass in that time. That's roughly how it works. The higher the level of the starship, the more expensive it is to use the Stargate. We have arrived at the Arctic Fox star system. This is our current position at the Stargate. After we leave the Stargate area, we will enter warp speed again, and we expect to reach Arctic Fox starport in about an hour. Vice Captain Charlotte explained the next steps. Zhao Wanner leaned close to Zhao Chen's ear. You really are lucky. I didn't expect among the orc slaves to find someone with such command talent. Charlotte is more professional than many fifth-year students I know. Zhao Chen secretly chuckled inside. You haven't seen what he's truly capable of yet. Set course for Arctic Fox starport, Zhao Chen ordered. From the star system of the Northern Star to the Arctic Fox star system, Zhao Chen didn't feel anything special. If no one told him, he might not even realize he had entered another star system. Because everything he saw was pretty much the same. Dark space, endless universe, and various planets, moons, and asteroids. When Zhao Chen woke up again from the sleep pod, his initial discomfort had lessened a bit, but his legs were still trembling. Captain, our ship has reached the outskirts of the Arctic Fox spaceport, Charlotte reported. Zhao Chen looked at the huge spaceport in front of him. It was many times larger than the spaceport at the Northern Star Military Academy. Because this is a real spaceport. You could also call it a space city. Contact this person and tell them I am Zero Storm Zhao Chen said, raising his hand and sending a communication link to Charlotte. Charlotte followed the instructions, and soon a video window appeared. On the other side was a beautiful woman dressed in what looked like a work uniform. Hello, Mr. Zhao Chen. I am the person in charge of the Arctic Fox spaceport, ID CC-11. It's my pleasure to serve you. Based on your previous requests, a large spaceship modification and upgrade workshop has been prepared for you. I will send you the address. You booked a 2-month usage period, and the cost is 100,000 star coins. Additionally, the total value of the goods you ordered, 1.5 million star coins, has all arrived. As per your instructions, they are now stored in your spaceship workshop, the woman said with a smile. 150,000 star coins. Zhao Wanner exclaimed, surprised, while watching Zhao Chen remain calm. Charlotte also looked at Zhao Chen in surprise, but her years of mental training kept her from losing composure like Zhao Wanner. Thank you, miss. I'll treat you to tea another day, Zhao Chen said with a smile. The woman covering her mouth and giggling replied, Sir, you're joking. During your stay, I am your dedicated manager. If you need anything, feel free to contact me. I am on call 24 hours a day. After saying that, she threw a flirtatious glance. This was a big client, and the bonus from this deal was equivalent to her half-year salary. Charlotte received the berth assignment at the spaceport. Under the coordination of the spaceport, they slowly moved forward, preparing to dock. What's going on with your 1.5 million star coins? Zhao Wanner couldn't help but ask again. I sold AT-1 Starship technology, Zhao Chen replied honestly, since there was no point hiding it for long. Sold T1 Starship technology? Zhao Wanner was stunned. Zhao Chen showed her a holographic display of his Empire card balance. Over 1.9 million star coins. Where did you get so many star coins? Zhao Wanner was amazed. Even the Xiongling star system's wealth wasn't that much. I sold the T1 Starship technology for 3 million. Then, 50,000 was borrowed from Zhonghauren. Renting the Starship workshop at the Arctic Fox starport for 2 months cost 10,000 star coins. A batch of goods I ordered cost 1.5 million star coins. And the supplies before the Zero Storm's departure cost 10,000 star coins. Adding it all up, I have about 1.9 million star coins left, Zhao Chen shrugged. Zhao Wanner listened, unable to process it for a moment. She realized the key point, T1 Starship technology? Where did you get the T1 Starship technology? I developed it myself. When did you learn to develop Starship technology? You saw me assembling a starship, right? Assembly and development are completely different. In my view, It's just a bit more difficult. Zhao Wanner covered her head, thinking that developing a brand new starship was just a bit more difficult task. Just as she wanted to ask more, her handheld terminal blinked. She looked at it and immediately straightened her face. It's the secret guard arranged by my sister. Ask if she can do a video call, Zhao Chen suggested. Zhao Wanner checked and replied. She said yes, but only for 5 minutes. 5 minutes is enough. The video call started quickly, and a window appeared in front of Zhao Chun and Zhao Wanner. On the other side was a refined woman. Zhao Chun remembered her information. She was a minor manager in the interstellar trade industry of the Xianglong star system. Unexpectedly, she was the secret guard arranged by that big sister, named Jiang Hong. Young Master Heir, Miss San, Jiang Hong bowed slightly. Let's keep it brief. What's really going on in the Xianglong star system? Zhao Chen directly asked. Jiang Hong was surprised. She didn't expect the usually timid second young master to speak so firmly, but this was what she was about to say. I received some news 2 days ago. A few noble families from the Xiaolong star system have colluded with interstellar pirates. They plan to use the pirates to ambush you and the third young lady while you are on vacation returning to the Xiaolong star system. At that time, they can ask the Empire to appoint a new lord. I haven't been able to contact the young lady, so the second young master and the third young lady must not come back now. Jiang Hong said. Interstellar pirate attack? Zhao Chen snorted. Such a trick is really old-fashioned, but it is very effective. Do you know how many starships the pirates have prepared for the ambush? Also, the list of noble families involved in this plan and how many starships they control, Zhao Chen asked. Jiang Hong didn't understand why Zhao Chen was asking, but she happened to know. That group of pirates isn't very powerful, just a wandering group. They have only 30 starships, 5 of which are T2 class, the rest are T1. I already have a list of the noble families involved in planning this. If the second young master needs it, I can send it to you. These noble families control about 10 ships, mostly T1 starships, with 1 or 2 T2 starships belonging to a few families. Send me the list immediately. Keep your identity hidden and stay on standby. If you get any other information, notify me immediately, Zhao Chen ordered. Yes. Jiang Hong was surprised. Why was she following the second young master's orders? She hurriedly asked, and what are your plans, second young master? For now, don't go back. I'll contact you if I have other plans, Zhao Chen said. I'll try to contact the young lady. As long as she appears, this matter can definitely be handled well. I can't stay in contact for long, so I'll stop here. Be careful, second young master and third young lady. Jiang Hong finished and ended the communication. At this moment, a list appeared before Zhao Chun and Zhao Wanner. The Chui family, Bao family. There are more than 10 families and forces listed, but most are small, insignificant families. Only the first 2 families are unusual for the Xiaolong star system. I didn't expect the Chui family and the Bao family to collude with interstellar pirates and try to kill us, Zhao Wanner said angrily. The Chui and Bao families have long surpassed our Zhao family in the Xiaolong star system. Our lord title is just a name without real power. Their desires are no longer satisfied. They don't want to be just nobles within a star system. Zhao Chen looked at the list and said surprised, what I didn't expect is that her family isn't on it. What do we do now? Also, you haven't explained why we came to the Arctic Fox starport, Zhao Wanner asked, her doubts like a volcano ready to erupt. I told you before, building ships, Zhao Chen replied. Building ships? What kind of ships? Zhao Wanner asked in surprise. At this moment, the number 0 snowstorm had entered the large starship workshop. This starship workshop is dozens of times larger than the one at the Northern Star Military Academy. Even if the number 0 snowstorm is docked inside, there's plenty of space. We came to Arctic Fox starport because it has some of the few large starship workshops in the Northern Star Empire, with complete facilities and readily available raw materials, greatly speeding up shipbuilding. Zhao Chen looked at the starship workshop in front of him, feeling excited. Building ships. Building ships. What exactly are you going to build? Zhao Wanner couldn't help but ask. Zhao Chen raised his hand, and a hologram of a starship appeared before Zhao Wanner, immediately catching her attention. It was a carrier starship, very magnificent in appearance. That's it. Although T2 starships are not as powerful as T3 starships with star shields, for many fleet commanders, private fleets, and space explorers, T2 starships are the best value for money right now. As one of the two main types of starships, the carrier starship's value is obvious. Zhao Chen shrugged. He didn't want to argue further with Zhao Wanner about this because he had many things to do and needed to hurry. Charlotte, I will give you some funds. During this time, you can buy up to 500 orc slaves through the female manager. My only requirement is that they must be female orc slaves, Zhao Chen ordered Charlotte. Charlotte was surprised. Saving those orc warriors who had been sold to the Starshine Empire, former comrades of hers, had always been her dream. As for Zhao Chen's final request that they be female orc slaves, she was still trying to understand his purpose. But as long as she could save the orc slaves, everything else was not important. Wanner, for now, unless Zhang Hong has important information to report, no one should disturb me, Zhao Chun said before leaving the Zero Storm. He headed to the other side of the large starship workshop, where there was a control station with many interstellar containers filled with raw materials worth 1.5 million star coins. There was also a starship manufacturing platform. Is he really planning to build a T2 carrier starship all by himself? Wana muttered. One person? That doesn't seem possible. Charlotte also found it hard to believe. But as days passed, they began to believe that Zhao Chun was serious about this plan. He operated the robotic arms and various equipment tirelessly, starting the starship construction, and the progress was very fast. By the 5th day, Warner saw that the keel of the carrier starship was already completed. She stood on the platform, watching her brother, who looked a bit rough but was still working. She felt that her brother was now so distant from her, more than ever before. In just 5 days, he had finished building the keel of the T2 carrier starship. Even at professional starship factories, this step usually takes at least half a month. Reaching Zhao Chun here cut the time by 3 times, and he completed everything alone. During these 5 days, Zhao Wanner watched Zhao Chun work step by step. He operated like a machine, only resting at the workbench when no action was needed from him and no other tasks were available. In 5 days, he slept less than 10 hours. Although he took nutritional supplements every day, it was very his body. Zhao Wanner clenched her fists and quickly walked up to Zhao Chun, who was covered in grease, and pulled him over. Are you risking your life? Zhao Chun opened his eyes and looked at his sister. Did Jiang Hong contact you? Zhao Wanner was surprised. She didn't expect his first question to be about that. No, not yet. Zhao Chun frowned slightly and continued to his workbench. I told you, unless Jiang Hong contacts me, don't disturb me. Zhao Wanner bit her lip and shouted. Why have you changed so suddenly? Is it really necessary to work so hard to build a starship? We could follow Jiang Hong's plan and stay at the Northern Star Starship Academy until Big Sister comes. So, you just leave everything to Big Sister? Zhao Chen's hands kept working, his voice low. Big Sister is now a member of the Empire's military and is the captain of the princess's personal fleet. If she steps in, this problem can be easily solved. Zhao Wanner said. Zhao Chen didn't look up and replied. So, you just leave everything to Big Sister? Zhao Wanner paused. For some reason, Zhao Chen's words felt like a thorn stabbing her, making her uncomfortable. I know, you have a good relationship with Big Sister. She's been against me since I was young because I took what was supposed to belong to her, Zhao Chen said with a bitter smile, but his hands kept working. Big Sister is very smart, just like you. She was recruited directly by the Empire Military Starship Academy and could operate a starship in combat at only 20 years old. Before she was 30, she became the captain of a T3 starship. In our starry empire, only a few can achieve such success through their own strength. While their father was still alive, she managed the territory well. The star system Xiaolong, which was about to collapse at that time, was kept afloat thanks to her efforts, allowing it to survive until now. I was only about 2 years old then. When my father passed away, I have no memories of it, so honestly, I don't feel much for them. Later, I heard that after my father died, she applied to stay in the Empire's military. Actually, she wanted to return to the Xiaolong star system. Her application was rejected 3 times by her superiors, who asked her to think more carefully. What made her suddenly give up on returning and decide to stay in the Empire's military? It was because of what my father said to her when he was dying. I don't know the exact words, but the main idea was, the future title of the Xiaolong star system belongs to me. I hope my sister will protect the star system and support me. Hearing this, Zhao Chen's eyes looked a bit sad. That was too much for my sister. Although I didn't know her well, I heard from the servants that her childhood dream was to become the ruler of the Xiaolong star system and make it a prosperous interstellar territory. Because of my father's selfish demand, her dream was shattered, and she was even forced to support the person who took her dream away. If it were me, I probably couldn't do it, even if he was my own brother. Why? I am more capable, more talented, and I've done so much. Why does all this belong to him? But she, our big sister, she said nothing and agreed to what our father wanted. At some point, Zhao Qin felt himself gradually merging into the memories of this body. The emotions and feelings from before also affected him. He had tried to control them before, but he realized these feelings were like a flood. Trying to block them only made them more intense. So, Zhao Qin decided to accept these feelings calmly. It doesn't matter who he is now, whether the ordinary Zhao Qin from his past life or the second young master Zhao Qin of the Xiaolong star system. He just wants to do things his way. Big Sister has been reporting good news, but hiding the bad at the Empire's military all these years. Not only is she developing her career, but she also has to protect the development of the Xiaolong star system. Do you really think these are small matters? Although we cannot see it, I can imagine how lonely Big Sister must feel when she faces these times alone. Zhao Qin turned his head and looked at Zhao Wanner. I don't want to see Big Sister like this. She has already made enough sacrifices. I am a man. I am the lord of the Xiaolong clan. These things should be my responsibility. Since I have the ability now, I will do my best to handle them. I won't hide behind Big Sister and act like a timid second young master. At this moment, Zhao Wanner looked at her brother and, for the first time, she saw a spark in his usually unremarkable eyes. An indescribable emotion spread inside her. It has been 2 months since the North Star Starship Military Academy's holiday, and this is also how long Zhao Qin and the others have been at the Arctic Fox starport. Originally, only the keel of a starship carrier was in the construction area, but now a brand new starship carrier was displayed there. The new ship's armor was shiny, painted in yellow and black, with a sleek, streamlined shape. Both in terms of beauty and practicality, it looked very impressive. Next to it, Zero Storm Snow looked like a child standing beside an adult, overwhelmed by the new ship. Zhao Qin took a deep breath, steadied his tired body, and finished the final starship inspection. Then he swayed and almost fell to the ground. Is it done? Zhao Wanner came over, holding the meal she prepared for Zhao Qin. Yes, it's done. Next is the test flight, Zhao Qin said, taking the food from Zhao Wanner without caring about his dirty hands, and started eating. God knows how he managed these past 2 months. He hadn't slept through a full night once. Luckily, the medical technology here was advanced, and energy drinks helped him stay awake. Otherwise, Zhao Qin would have fainted many times. Finally, his hard work paid off. In 2 months, he completed the construction of this T2 Queen-class heavy aircraft carrier starship. Seeing all this, Zhao Wanner truly believed in her brother. He built the T2 Queen-class starship all by himself, and he even designed and researched it. If the instructors at the North Star Starship Military Academy knew about this, they would be ashamed of themselves. Why didn't I realize before that you had such amazing abilities? Zhao Wanner asked curiously. Before this, Zhao Qin was an ordinary person with no special traits, mostly just good at reading. Our family already has a genius older sister, and now there's you, a little genius. If I show more of my talent, do you think some people with bad intentions might notice? I guess the people from the Xiaolong star system are afraid you'll grow up and become too strong, making it harder for them to act. That's why they chose this time. Big trees attract the wind. Zhao Qin made an excuse for himself. So you've been hiding your abilities all along? Zhao Wanner was surprised. It's called being low-key, Zhao Qin said, crossing his arms. At this moment, Charlotte approached. Captain, you called me? Charlotte looked much better than 2 months ago and had gotten used to life with Zhao Qin. After all, she enjoyed the natural food served every day. How are the training sessions for the 500 female half-beast soldiers going? Zhao Qin asked. Charlotte spent a month buying 500 female half-beast soldiers through the trade network at the Arctic Fox starport. Once she received them, she began training them. Fortunately, they all recognized Charlotte as a legendary general and obeyed her commands. Plus, Zhao Qin set good benefits for his female crew members, so they were already very happy when they saw the simple food. The training for the 500 female half-beast soldiers went smoothly. If we had 5 zero-point storms now, they could be ready for battle, Charlotte replied. And what about this T2 Queen Bee? Zhao Chen pointed to the large starship behind him. Charlotte looked at the huge yellow and black starship confidently and said, "In 3 days, I can master this starship and make it ready for combat." Zhao Chen patted Zhao Wanner on the shoulder. "Charlotte, take Wanner and 100 selected crew members to board the ship. Conduct a test flight of this T2 Queen Bee." "Can I come too?" Zhao Wanner asked in surprise. "You said you really wanted a starship carrier, right? This starship is a gift for you. But when we return to the academy, you should temporarily use your original starship. This carrier can't be exposed yet. Big trees attract the wind," Zhao Chen explained. Zhao Wanner looked at Zhao Chun in surprise, pointing at the T2 Queen Bee spaceship and then at herself. "You want to give me the spaceship? It's not free, you know. You need to be my captain. Don't you want to?" Zhao Chen teased. Zhao Wanner rolled her eyes. "I'll help you just this once. Who would want your spaceship anyway?" After saying that, Zhao Wanner didn't hesitate and pulled Charlotte onto the ship to start familiarizing herself with the T2 Queen Bee. The inside of the T2 Queen Bee is much better than the Zero Snowstorm in size and quality. Everything is brand new, unlike the Zero Snowstorm, which shows signs of age everywhere. Zhao Wanner went to the bridge of the T2 Queen Bee. The entire bridge is a round, enclosed space, but when activated, it displays all the surrounding views of the spaceship using 360 degrees panoramic projection technology. "Big Sister Charlotte, let's get ready. I can't wait to take this spaceship out for a test flight," Zhao Wanner said eagerly. Controlling and piloting a carrier spaceship has always been Zhao Wanner's dream. She never thought it would actually come true. "We need some preparation time, about half a day. First, we need to let the crew get familiar with the spaceship and their positions. Fortunately, some of the female or crew members I recruited have experience serving on carrier ships before, so they should get used to it quickly. And this is just a T2 level carrier spaceship, so the technical difficulty shouldn't be too high," Charlotte explained. Then she began selecting crew members for the T2 Queen Bee. The chosen crew members quickly received notices to stand by on the ship. In a large cabin, Charlotte looked at the 100 orc female crew members gathered there. They were all dressed neatly and smiling. Just a month ago, when they were brought here, they were dressed as slaves, looking terrified, like caged birds. As Captain Zhao Chen said, now they have hope in their eyes. "I now announce that from this moment on, you are official crew members of the T2 Queen Bee. Detailed assignments will be sent to each of you. Over the past month, your life on the Zero Snowstorm. I hope you've all been happy. But you should know who gave you these things. Maybe you still doubt that man or question him, but no matter what, now you must fight for him. If anyone slacks off during the battle, even if you used to be my comrades, I will send you away from this starship." Charlotte looked at everyone present and said, "Remember 2 words, gratitude. That man gave you a second life. Without him, you wouldn't be able to live in a clean room or enjoy delicious food. We half-beasts must learn to be grateful and repay kindness. Understand?" Zhao Chen lay on the big bed in his captain's quarters on 0 Point Blizzard, watching Charlotte scold on the screen. Using the inside eye, I can see that these female half-beast crew members are not necessarily loyal, but they are no longer hostile and feel grateful. I believe their views will change completely soon. Come see what I've gained. Zhao Chen forced himself to stay awake and opened the system page. When the T2 Queen Bee was built, a system task was already completed. Quarterly task. On a starship, system produced. Completed. You can claim the reward. Zhao Chen clicked to claim the reward. Quarterly task reward received. Distributing rewards. 5 task points. A blueprint for a T2 heavy interstellar industrial ship. 500 system points. T1 super soldier potion. Zhao Chen's sleep suddenly vanished. Interstellar industrial ship. The interstellar industrial ship is a support-type starship, also called the Interstellar Mobile Factory. As the name suggests, it can carry out most industrial production tasks, even manufacturing starships. Previously, Zhao Chun was focused on interstellar industry. Without this foundation, every time he wanted to produce a starship, he had to rent a workshop at a starport. This was inconvenient and unsafe. If he could have his own interstellar industrial ship, all these worries would be gone. Now, Zhao Chen has the chance to own an interstellar industrial ship. This means that as long as there are raw materials and technology, Zhao Chen can produce starships anytime and anywhere. Building his own interstellar fleet is no longer just a dream. Hammer-class heavy interstellar industrial ship type. Interstellar industrial ship technology level. T2 hull armor strength. 100 units cruising speed. 20 star knots warp drive. Level 4 warp engine ship length. 500 meters mass. 200,000 tons crew. 200 people starship weapons. 50 light closed defense turrets. Zhao Chen looked at the data for this T2 hammer. Its size is much larger than the T2 Queen-class heavy carrier. It has very few weapons, since it's not a combat ship, only basic defense firepower. But when he checked its core function, interstellar industry, he couldn't help but drool. This is a semi-intelligent interstellar industrial ship. It needs only a small crew to operate and has very high production efficiency. For example, the recently completed T2 Queen was built in the best starship workshop at the Arctic Fox starport, taking 2 months of non-stop work. But with the T2 hammer, even if Zhao Chen is not present, as long as he inputs the blueprints and technology, the starship system will distribute tasks to various manufacturing stations. It can also use a secret production method, where each worker only knows their part of the process. He can even have Zhao Chen personally handle the most core technology. This greatly reduces the workload. At the same time, this starship can reduce raw material loss by 20%. That means, instead of spending 1.5 million star coins on raw materials, nearly 300,000 star coins can be saved. This is definitely the most powerful T2 interstellar industrial ship known. With it, Zhao Chen's strength is greatly enhanced. I must build one. I must build one. Zhao Chen's eyes glowed red. But after calculating the cost, Zhao Chen was stunned. The cost for one ship is 2 million star coins. Wow, this is even more expensive than the T2 Queen. Zhao Chen glanced at his account. He still had 1.9 million star coins before. Although he spent a few thousand on Charlotte to buy some work slaves, he still had over 1.8 million left. There is a shortfall of over 200,000 star coins. Plus, the costs for renting the Star Harbor Starship Workshop haven't been included yet. Additionally, future maintenance for Starship No. 0 Storm and T2 Queen B will require some funds. Calculating all this, Zhao Chen realizes he needs at least 2.5 million star coins to build the T2 Hammer-class heavy starship industrial ship. Again, short on money, Zhao Chen mutters, scratching his head. Building ships really does burn through cash. That's why people say starships are toys for the rich. What should I do about this shortfall? Should I ask Liyaki to sell a starship? But she currently has one in production and doesn't need another for a while. Or should I find other starship sellers? But if I offend someone powerful now, I know from school that being innocent doesn't protect you from trouble. Zhao Chen frowns. He ponders for a moment, then suddenly slaps his forehead. The money is right there waiting for him. How did he forget? The noble families in the Xianglong star system are quite wealthy. Although the system is poor, it doesn't stop these nobles from hoarding wealth. A faint, cold smile appears on Zhao Chen's face. Besides the starship technology reward, he received 3 other rewards: 5 task points, 500 system points, T1 Super Warrior Serum. The task points and system points are just what he needed. But the third reward catches his attention. T1 Super Warrior Serum? T1 Super Warrior Serum, a drug that can modify the human body, injected directly into the bloodstream. Just a simple sentence? It might seem vague, but the name suggests it's for body modification. Zhao Chen feels speechless, but since the system provided it, it probably isn't a problem. His current body is too weak. Over the past 2 months of work, he has fainted 5 times. When using the military sleep pod before, he even embarrassed himself in front of Yenner. He's a man aiming to conquer the stars and the ocean. How can he be so weak? Without hesitation, Zhao Chen takes the serum from the system warehouse. A 20-centimeter-long cylindrical medicine tube suddenly appeared in Zhao Chen's hand, filled with a faint blue glowing liquid. Zhao Chen swallowed hard and silently thought, "System, you wouldn't trick me, right?" After saying that, he quickly jabbed the needle into his arm. Within a second, all the blue liquid inside the medicine was injected. "Don't feel anything?" Zhao Chen was surprised. But in the next moment, his pupils dilated, and he felt as if every cell in his body was exploding. He collapsed to the ground in pain. He wanted to shout, but it was as if his throat was blocked, and he couldn't make a sound. This feeling seemed to last forever in Zhao Chen's mind. Pant, pant, pant. Zhao Chen suddenly gasped and sat up, and the discomfort in his body disappeared. He looked at the time. Only 3 minutes had passed. He touched his body and found that not only was there no pain, but even the fatigue from before was gone. Zhao Chen stood up, took out a mirror, and looked at himself. His face seemed sharper and more defined. He lifted his shirt, and his flat stomach now had visible abs. Even his arms looked more muscular. Zhao Chen tried to punch, and he could hear a whooshing sound. He tried to jump, and he easily touched the ceiling. Excited, Zhao Chen did push-ups again. He felt no pressure and did 500 in one go without feeling tired. Am I turning into a superhero? Zhao Chen was very happy. This T1 super soldier potion really works. Does having T1 mean there is a T2? Zhao Chen seemed to think of something and opened the system shop. First, he looked through the T1 items and surprisingly found the T1 super soldier potion he had just used. T1 super soldier potion requires 1 mission point and 30 system points. It was available in the shop. But earlier, when he was browsing, Zhao Chen was looking at spaceship blueprints and didn't notice these items. Plus, he didn't want to spend his precious mission points on this at the time. Then, Zhao Chen looked at the T2 series items and quickly found his target. T2 Super Soldier Potion requires 3 mission points and 600 system points. He thought for a moment and decided, there's no rush to improve my physical strength right now. What I have is enough for the moment. When you are wealthier in the future, it won't be too late to exchange then. Zhao Chen saw the price and decided to wait for now. Since he no longer felt tired, he went straight to the bridge of the Zero Storm ship. Hello, Captain, greeted the half-orc female crew member on the bridge. She looked at the captain carefully and noticed that today he seemed a little different. Compared to before, he looked taller and more handsome. Sitting in the captain's chair, Zhao Chen contacted the T2 Queen Bee ship's bridge. On the video screen, Zhao Wanner and Charlotte appeared. Why aren't you resting? Zhao Wanner asked Zhao Chen. Zhao Chen replied, I'm not very tired right now. How are your starship preparations going? Almost done. We need about half a day to finish the setup, Charlotte answered. Good. Charlotte, please check the supplies we need for daily life and military use. Bring everything before we leave. During the test flight, the Zero Storm will also go along. After the test, we will head to the Dragon Star system, Zhao Chen said. Are you in such a hurry? Zhao Wanner was a bit surprised. Zhao Chen chuckled playfully. We've been waiting 2 months for this banquet. It's getting late, and it's not suitable to delay further. He was eager to claim his wealth. Report. All test flight projects for the T2 Queen Bee class heavy carrier starship have been completed, with a 100% success rate. Charlotte reported via video call from the T2 Queen Bee's bridge to Zhao Chen on the Zero Storm ship. Zhao Chen nodded with satisfaction. Since everything is ready, let's set off. Destination, the Dragon Star system. Are we really going to eliminate those interstellar pirates? Just the 2 starships we have? Zhao Wanner asked worriedly from the video window. Zhao Chen smiled and looked at Zhao Wanner. You've seen the performance data of the T2 Queen Bee. Why? Still doubt? It's not that I don't believe. But we only have 2 starships. Isn't that too risky? I'm just worried about accidents, Zhao Wanner mumbled. Zhao Chen's lips curled up. This time, there are no risks. By the way, before we leave, send a message to Jiang Hong, asking about the starship data of the interstellar pirate fleet and the noble fleet. If you can get their starship information, that would be even better. All right, I will contact them, Zhao Wanner agreed. Zhao Wanner sat in the captain's chair on the bridge of the T2 Queen Bee starship. She looked around, still finding it hard to believe she was on a T2 carrier starship. And it was a very powerful starship. Big Sister Charlotte, do you think our mission might be dangerous? Zhao Wanner asked Charlotte. They had been together for over 2 months, and Zhao Wanner got along well with Charlotte. She often asked Charlotte to teach her about starship command and combat skills. Charlotte was friendly and open with her, even though Zhao Wanner was part of the half-beastman race. If we go by the intel your spy sent back, the interstellar pirates and the rebellious noble fleet are less than 50 starships, mostly T1 starships. This mission should be fine, unless they have more than 20 T2 starships or a T3 starship. You should know how terrifying the T2 Queen Bee starship your brother built is. Charlotte looked at the starship bridge and said seriously, this isn't just a T2 starship. It's almost a T3 starship. Who has ever seen a T2 starship with star shield capabilities? Number 0 Snowstorm. Bridge the warp engine route is ready. We will now enter acceleration mode. In 10 minutes, we will begin warp travel. All crew members must switch to deep sea mode within 10 minutes. Repeat, all crew must switch to deep sea mode within 10 minutes. Zhao Chun ordered over the ship's broadcast. As he spoke, all the sleep pods on the bridge popped out. At that moment, Zhao Chun had an idea. He wondered what it felt like to be in the sleep pod of the T2 Queen Bee. It should be much better than the experience of this assembled starship. He never expected that the first person to try out his new ship wouldn't be himself. But when he finished building the T2 Hammer-class heavy industrial starship, it would be time to build the T3 Blizzard-class light starship cruiser. By then, he would have a real T3 starship. T3 Blizzard. This is the starship blueprint that Zhao Chun has always wanted in his system warehouse. The appearance of the T2 Hammer gave Zhao Chun the ability to build it. Report. All 101 crew members are in sleep pods, with 99 already sleeping. A female orc crew member reports nearby. This was Charlotte's temporary assistant assigned to Zhao Chun. I understand. You should also enter the sleep pod, Zhao Chun said. Yes, the female crew member replied, entering the sleep pod and injecting the liquid. Zhao Chun glanced at the dimming lights on the bridge and then at the star map, where the T2 Queen Bee was also accelerating into faster-than-light travel. This time, the faster-than-light journey would not take just half an hour like before. It would take a full 2 weeks. Because this time, they needed to cross 2 star systems. The Arctic Fox star system and the Howling Dragon star system are neighboring. But since the Howling Dragon system has no stargate, they can only rely on the starship's own navigation to reach it. This shows how important stargates are for a star system. Between star systems, there is a barren zone, usually empty. Crossing this barren zone takes a lot of time. It's like ancient times when a person had to cross vast oceans to reach another continent. This area is called the star system marginal space. Zhao Chun lay down in the sleep pod, and as the blue liquid was quickly injected, a voice sounded. Trigger mission. Eliminate the interstellar pirate fleet. Mission details. Destroy the interstellar pirate fleet in the Howling Dragon star system. Mission difficulty. Sea level. Mission reward. 3 mission points and 600 points. Failure penalty. Deduct 600 points. Coincidentally, Zhao Chun accepted this mission without hesitation. Soon after, Zhao Chun fell into sleep. Zero Storm and T2 Queen Bee also set out from the Arctic Fox star system, heading toward the Howling Dragon star system. On a habitable planet, 5 kilometers above the ground, in a house, Jiang Shasha was having dinner with her family. Although her Jiang family is noble in the Howling Dragon star system, besides their noble status, their living conditions are only slightly better than ordinary people. Jiang Shasha looked at the food on the table. Everyone received a portion of rice and 3 servings of green vegetables. One of the vegetables contained meat the size of a fingernail. These natural foods are common, but the rest are artificially made. These synthetic foods look very fancy, with lots of meat and fish, but they taste almost the same as plastic. Despite that, such food is what ordinary people eat for a month. In the past, Jiang Shasha might have been proud of her family. But after visiting the Starship Military Academy on the Northern Star and seeing the outside world, she started to dislike this life. Father, why don't you join the Bao and Chui families' plan? If the operation succeeds and Zhao Chun is eliminated, our 3 families can control the entire Xiaolong star system. Whether we choose to pick our own leader or use the star system to join other interstellar powers, it's all better than our current situation. Jiang Shasha's father looked at the old man, confused why he hadn't made a decision. Could it be that you still blindly trust the Zhao family? So far, because of Zhang's old man, the Zhang family has not joined Bao and Chui's plans. The family members looked at Zhang's old man, curious why he hadn't acted. Zhang's old man whispered, I've never been loyal to the Zhao family. I am just a businessman, doing only what benefits me. First, even though we haven't directly joined Bao and Chui's plans, if they succeed, we can sit back and enjoy the benefits. After all, Our Jiang family controls 70% of the star trade channels in the Xiaolong star system. Second, don't forget about Zhao's young lady. You probably think she hasn't returned in years and has nothing to do with Zhao's family anymore. But if she finds out about Bao and Chui's rebellion, with her abilities, she could easily take down Bao and Chui. If we openly stand with them, we'll only become targets for Zhao's young lady. So, the best choice is to wait and see, always leaving a way out for ourselves. After hearing Zhang's old man's long speech, everyone suddenly understood. I heard from Sha that Zhao Chun, that useless guy, defeated a Viscount's son with a custom starship at the academy? Old Master Jiang looked at Jiang Sasa. Jiang Sasa nodded. She told her father and grandfather about this as soon as she returned from the academy. Just a starship, how much trouble can it cause? I heard that the Bao family and Chui family hired interstellar pirates this time, and they are professionals. All former military starship soldiers. Father Jiang said with a cold smile.